Welcome to the Drop In with Pindi podcast from Warriors TMA Academy, a podcast for everyone from business inspirational leaders, combat sports enthusiasts, martial artists, and fitness fans. Together, we can build our self-discipline, confidence, and positive mindsets through great leaders. Now, here's your host, coach and former pro fighter, Pindi Matahar.
Here we are again, ladies and gents. Welcome to the Drop In with Pindi podcast. I'm here today and I'm honored to be here today with two of my coaches, my brothers from Birmingham, from Fearless MMA. I'm here with both Kaish and Kamby, everyone. And I'm absolutely buzzing to get started because today's podcast is going to be a laugh, but it's more so going to be a huge history lesson where these guys have come from, the tough upbringings that they've had in the sense of their training camps that they had and having a destination, shall I say, a path made out for you to go into the sports that you've gone into with wrestling and Muay Thai, having a great coach like your dad, who was maybe not like a father figure, such more of a coach figure, if that makes sense, and getting you guys there, but more so, guys, and what the reason I was being eager to get you guys on is because I absolutely just love your mindset, your work ethic. Like,
thank you, bro.
I was on the phone to Kaish the other day. And like obviously we're all excited to get work up and going again and everything like that. And he's got like about 50 million projects on the go in one hit. How these guys do it, I honestly don't understand. And I think for you guys listening at home, for you guys watching at home, hearing by the end of today's podcast, you guys will be so inspired and have that mentality that anything is doable, because anything is possible and achievable, because the proof's right here in front of us. And
well, that means a lot.
No, honestly, the proof is right here. And these guys are just going from strength to strength, from business to business, with their gyms, with their businesses that they're running outside of martial arts as well. And I can't wait for the audience to hear it out. But before we get into all of that, guys, thank you once again for coming on. But let's hear about where it all started and why you picked the sport, because you've got a dad who's coached you from day dot.
Yeah.
Who's very, very heavily big wrestling fan and was an amazing wrestler himself. Yeah. But Kamby, you obviously follow down his roots, but Kaish, I'm gonna start with you. You decided not to, man. Why was that? Like, where did that come from? I know you wrestled, but how did it start as a kid? Because I know obviously upbringing was different for everyone, but how was it for you boys, like growing up with that?
Pindi, first of all, man, thanks for having us on.
No problem.
Awesome coming into the gym. We haven't been here for a few years, hasn't it, Kamby?
Well, we were just saying it's been a long time.
You've done a brilliant job in here, man. It's wicked.
Thank you so much, brother. Thank you, man.
But yeah, I think with the martial arts journey, obviously, like you said, it started off from our father, and you know, we're all grateful for him for everything he's done for us. But my dad was a wrestler in India originally, and then when he came over to the UK, he didn't find too much of the Olympic kind of style wrestling that they were doing over there. As you know, Pindi,
of course,
most countries have got their form of wrestling. Whether it's like Greece, pancration, and you know, in India they've got the India style, mitti the goal, what they call it. So my dad had done all that, but when he came over to the UK, there wasn't much going on. So somehow he found himself going into the route of ring wrestling, what you know, like the WWE stuff. Type of wrestling.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They call that pro wrestling.
Yeah. Wow. So he had a partner, and Gyan John, his partner's name was. My dad's nickname was Mojo. Okay. So they were a tag team partnership in wrestling. And I remember I must have been about 5-6 years old, and my dad was going to one of the wrestling events on Soho Road, a massive place, quite famous with a lot of the older people. It's called the Grand Palace.
Okay.
And I want to go along. But dad's like, everyone's like, you're not allowed to go. You're not allowed. My older brother that we're going, and I'm not. I want to go. So I was kicked up before. So anyway, they took me along. So I just remember sitting on the balcony. Must have been about 5-6, and I see my dad walking into the ring. And I'm thinking, I never forget. He used to wear this gold gown. Remember that gold gown?
We still got it.
We still got it. Yeah, as a memory. It's got his name on the back, big India flag, and they announced him coming into the ring. So at this age, I don't know what's going on, and I just see my dad start wrestling. Then I see this guy jump on the ropes, kick my dad in the face, and so I start burst out crying. I'm crying my eyes out. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? So you know, I've come home and my dad's like, and I'm upset. I think my dad's been in a scrap. Like my dad's like, look, this is what I do. And all. So it's slowly started getting into there. But my dad always still had the love and the roots of the original wrestling.
Of course.
So he got my older brothers into it. I did a little bit of it, but then it kind of filtered out. And then I think I think Kamby had no choice from the age of 4 or 5. He had no choice. He had to do it.
Just somewhere, Kamby's the youngest, isn't it? Out of all the siblings, so he.
I don't look the youngest, but I am. I put it down to being through the walls, you know.
Don't worry, man. We've got good cameras. We can sort it out.
I'll need that.
I love it when somebody comes into the gym and go, "You're the younger brother." I'm like, "Yeah, man, love it,
all the time."
I said
You
that back.
screws.
I said that back
I'm
in
sure you said
2011, like when I first come, when you guys were upstairs on the top floor. When I first come there,
Yeah.
and I remember saying, "Oh, Kaish, like your older brother." And he's like, "Huh?" I was like, "Your older brother gave me." I was like, "Oh fuck!" And then
I don't even think he
And then-
mentioned it. He was
and-
like, "Pindi, come here. I need to tell you something." Oh man, that's bad. That is.
good days, man." But yeah, that's all it kind of all developed from. But then, obviously, my dad he wanted one of us to wrestle, so I did wrestle with Kamby and all that, practice. I didn't compete. And then from the age of 10, 11, I kind of fell into a karate kung fu gym, a local gym down the road. And that's when I found the kind of love for martial arts. But way before all that, me and this guy were always watching Jackie Chan movies, kung fu films, Van Damme.
so like proper like old school martial arts.
Still big fans, aren't we? Really?
Yeah.
We still watch them.
Still watch them now.
We got our kids to watch them, you know.
Yeah. We force them. You got to watch this film.
Yeah. We do.
That's awesome, man. So you followed down the route of, because you've both had super successful athletic careers in the individual sports that you chose.
Yeah.
Kaish, obviously you went down the Muay Thai route after choosing obviously Kung Fu and everything. Experimenting, shall I say.
Yeah.
But how did you find Thai after that? Whereabouts, at what age did you find Thai?
I started Thai from about the age of 17, but it was crazy because I'd done a little bit of Kung Fu and a bit of karate and stuff.
Yeah.
But I was actually looking for a Taekwondo gym.
Oh,
So our cousins who live in Belgium,
yeah.
they're all massive martial arts fans as well. They're European Taekwondo champions, etc. I think you know Saab.
Yeah.
And Renku runs his own gym down there now.
Over there,
So they were always like, because they lived in Belgium, they're like, "Oh, Van Damme's from Belgium," I'm like, we used to watch Van Damme films and Bloodsport and Kickboxer and all that. And so it's crazy because I remember specifically, I'm looking through the yellow pages. You didn't have all these Google this gym and get there.
Any of this.
I'm looking through the yellow pages and I'm looking
Back
at
then, the yellow pages about this.
Yeah.
And
I'm looking for martial arts, Thai boxing. Nothing was there. So, I was looking for Taekwondo. Nothing was there. Come across Thai boxing, Perry Bar. Thought, right. Phoned up my mate Jag. Saw here. I was like, "Guys, we've got to check this gym out." But I just remember walking through the door. I remember Izzy Drew kicking that bag. There's a famous green bag at K-Star. And it was like he had bloody metal in there, sand at the bottom. Whoa. And this guy's kicking the bag. So I done a free session.
And then they're making a echoing around the room. Yeah.
Oh, and it was different to what I've done from the kickboxing karate style. And must have been I was probably a little bit cocky, thinking, "Yeah, man, this is all right. I could get away with it." And then did a few classes, just fell in love with it straight away. Amazing. Fell in love with it, and I was just like, right. I never looked back then. They were there like 5 days a week.
And
just got addicted.
How old were you then, bro?
17 I was there when I started Thai. So I've done a bit of wrestling, did a bit of karate, kung fu, in and out.
That's when you
Then I stuck to Thai after that.
I think as kids, like this guy was always kicking around the house, always doing punching kicks around, like constantly, And I remember my mum always shouting at him because he would be kicking the doors. It's pretty crazy, So I think you've always been that way.
That striking element of you.
Yeah.
It's always been good. Even at football, I don't like to blow his trumpet. But he's quite good at football. But I wasn't very good at football,
We always did loads of sports as kids, because we were out on the road. It's like different times.
Different era.
Yeah. We had a football. We were over the moon. You know what I mean? But anything at school, football, hockey, basketball, we played everything, competed in everything. As much as we could at that time. But once I found Thai,
that was it. Never looked back.
We were I was kind of addicted to it. Just loved the element of the kicks, the punches, the clinching. I was thankfully I kind of adapted to the clinching thanks to Kamby because we wrestled. So I found the clinching a little bit. I embraced it a little bit more. Like I think a lot of kickboxers, brilliant with the kicks and punches.
Yeah.
And initially they're not.
You got it.
Yeah, not so good with the clinch, but I thought, right, man, I'm
gonna do this.
Yeah.
Fair play. So that
a lot of the people have this misconception about Kaish that he can't wrestle. You know, they say he just thinks he can only tie
You know
box.
what? I was one of them because I remember back in the day when we used to do our Saturday sparring sessions. Right?
Saturday mornings,
Saturday
brilliant,
sparring, and I was like, okay, and I think me and you sparred, and I was like, okay, I've got to be careful of stand up now.
Yeah.
You took me down. I was like, what? Where did this come from? You know what I mean? I was like, we didn't even exchange. You took me straight down and like double legged me. I was like, whoa, that was. And I saw you do that with like obviously all the other guys at the time that were training, like Dave Hill, JD, and all those boys that were training at the time.
Brilliant days.
Like we say old school days, but yeah, that's how it was back then. But no, it's 100%. It's true because I was one of them thinking, Kaish, you've had such a successful Thai career, but then you don't. Without sounding arrogant or ignorant, but because obviously you don't know that much about wrestling. But then when you were wrestling with the guys on those, from when I used to see it on those Saturday mornings, I was like, whoa. It's like, wow, man, that's cool, man. That's awesome.
It's brilliant because I think MMA was just coming up, and we used to have a bit of a mess around. There's like a 6-year difference between me and Kamby, but I used to bring him up on some of the sessions up to K-Star, and like people like Murray and Tony and these guys are like, what's he rolling on the floor for? You know what I mean? But I think people weren't sure about MMA then, especially the strikers. Like, I'm not going to roll around on the floor with that guy.
It was a bit, do
you know what I mean? They didn't really. I don't think they really. What's the word? Not respected it, but knew the effectiveness of it.
They were like, why are you rolling around from where you could just try? It was quite a negative approach to it. Back then.
At that time, it was.
At that time, No, but so that's how you fell in love with the sport that you absolutely adored fighting in and competing in. But unfortunately, Cam, not unfortunately, no, fortunately, no, that's the wrong one. But Cam, you had it a tougher growing up because from the stories that you've told me, is like, man,
it was tough, wasn't it, Kaish? Like,
it was. But like I said, you know, like similar to yourself, Pindi.
Yeah.
You know, your father was a martial artist, and you got the best role model in the house.
100%.
Yeah.
You know, 100%.
You know.
No, you just have to keep going for it.
And you got that push, and it was like bit of a command style. You will do this. You will get up in the morning and you train. And I remember me and this guy thinking, oh, Dad, no, not again, not again. But like, you know,
it's tough, isn't it? Because like you see all your schoolmates, shall we say, and then they're all like, back then, like we didn't have like much game consoles or anything like that. But it was like, oh, after school we'll go to the field and we'll have a little kickabout and stuff. And I'll be like, yeah, raring to go. And I'll be like super excited, running home. Yeah. And then say to my mum, I'm gonna go out with my mates, and then Dad would be like, no, we're going in the garage.
Same.
And it was like,
same sort of thing.
Okay. And I used to at that time I hated hitting. Does that mean I hated the martial art? But I was young, I was a kid. I wanted to be with my friends, but
makes sense.
Do you know what I mean? So, and it's one of them, but I don't regret it now.
No.
But as a kid, I did. But right now, 100% not. 100%.
We were saying it the other day. We were saying to my dad, it's like, you know, we're
grateful.
We're so grateful for everything he's done. Like all that. It was tough. But you know, because we want to pass the same thing on to others.
I love seeing it because I see, and I'm going to go slightly off subject now, but like I'll see it every now and again when I'm training at Fearless in Birmingham, and every now and again your dad will just pop through.
Yeah.
And
everyone's in best behaviour.
Everyone's like all of a sudden Kamby's straight. He's like, no, but it's like he'll just keep an eye, like look at you, and then
he'll be
seeing a bit, and he's like. You can breathe now.
She
got me.
Because it'll still pull him up if he's doing a technique on the mat and there's a little bit of it.
To this day?
Yeah. To this day.
Wow.
Yeah. He'll come in and it's in my juniors wrestling, and if they're not doing certain things, he'll be like, well, haven't you showed them that yet? And I'm like, I am. But he goes, well, you need to drill them a little. I said, times are a little bit different.
You can't be
like that. You got to be... have a different approach now.
I'm guessing you grew up with the era like you grew up with the era like we all did. If you weren't doing something right, you'll be getting a
do you
know what I mean? A little clip around the ear or something. Do you know what I mean?
And most of the time, it's deserved.
100%.
Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like I'm going to whinge about it.
No. But I'll be honest with you. Like I think I can't remember when I said this, but I think that needs to come back. Like in my opinion, I'd not in an aggressive way, but just in a discipline way. I
totally agree, bro.
Yeah, I might get a few critics out there now saying, "Oh my God, he said this," but I'll be straight. I think it needs to come back. I think it needs to come back just from a discipline point of view. 100%. But so Cam, you as a kid, obviously, we were saying it got forced upon us, but did you? When I say forced, did you have a desire to wrestle, or did you want to be like how?
It's a funny one. I mean, yeah, I did. But when you're winning and you're bringing back medals and your brothers are like, oh my God, you did really well, and you're getting praise, and my mom's giving me a pat on the back and saying, I'm really proud of you and things like that. Great,
Yeah.
And there was always an incentive at the end of it. My dad would be like, you win this, and what would you like? Would you like a game? Or,
so
something like
that's
that.
good. That's good. Yeah.
So in my head, growing up at a very young age, I'm talking like, I think, you know what? I'm getting that game. So I'm going to do whatever it takes. It wasn't so much even about the wrestling at the time.
Incentive, really.
It was the game. Yeah. So I think as you grow a little bit older and you understand a bit more about the sport, it's you cannot stop doing it then.
100%.
You're past that barrier. Yeah, I've hit walls, and I think every athlete does.
Yeah.
It's just how you overcome them,
And you spent a lot of time in India as well, wrestling.
I wrestled in India, yeah. I wrestled in
what was
India.
that experience like? Because from my point of the reason I'm asking that is because I've recently, when I say recently, about 3 years ago, watched the film Dangal.
Dangal, yeah.
Brilliant film,
and it's about these 2 girls from India whose father was an amazing wrestler.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the dad, because back then, he had 2 girls. He was like,
He's frowned upon.
it's frowned upon. Oh, you should have a son, not girls. And I know it's an old school mentality, but that's how it was in the villages back in India.
Especially for a wrestler, yeah.
From a wrestler,
women wrestlers didn't exist.
Of course. And then all of a sudden, he brought the girls up to wrestle, and he took them to, was it
the Commonwealth Games?
The Commonwealth
We actually
Games.
met them.
Yeah, we met them on the 2014 Games, yeah.
Oh, wow, that's
Glasgow,
awesome.
Yeah, we had one of my wrestlers on at that time, and I know of the coach. I'd wrestled alongside.
As in their dad or the coach?
The head. I think the story's been altered a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
It's cool. I don't know their dad, but the head coach at the time, because I'd seen him on a few international events.
Yeah.
And obviously through social media, I'd wrestled with Sushil on the same events when I was younger, a couple of times, and in India as well. So we were a bit familiar with each other, we'd see each other, like even on the 2014 Games.
I was so inspired by watching that film because I was like, these guys, I think it's tougher just wrestling on mats at Fearless, but these girls are wrestling in, like you said,
in the dirt,
in the mud, in the sand,
getting
and
thrown,
getting thrown, getting landed, their backs getting hit on the. So you've gone through that, yeah. So what's your that? Obviously, those of you that don't know, Coach or Kamby, like his body is in bits. like do you know what I mean? But he's good. Yeah. He's just got a few aches and pains here and there. But yeah, what was it like rolling around in that dirt, man? Like
it's
different.
It's a little bit different, yeah. But we used to have wrestling tournaments here where a lot of the Asian community would get together and, do you know what I mean? Like the kabaddi tournaments.
Yeah, kabaddi, yeah.
And we used to wrestle on them. So a little bit different to the dirt. But the dry grass, I personally think it's a lot harder.
Yeah,
especially the heat blasting down.
Yeah. I mean, you wrestle on there, you'll get ripped to pieces. Your knees will be cut, and it's a lot. I think it's
mad. I remember him going through a phase. Like my dad would be like, "There's Indian tournaments every weekend."
Back then it used to be, even in here in Covey, it used to be every weekend.
It used to be like
on a Sunday,
Birmingham, London, Luton, and we used to go around. But I think just before he hit it, Kamby hit it with the British Olympic team. My dad used to take him every weekend, every summer. But I remember a couple of the times, he'd win matches, and then my dad's like, "You got to do another one." And then you ain't basically waiting into. There's a guy similar, but my dad's like gone and told the guy announcing. You got hundreds of people, thousands. It's like, anyone want to wrestle? Not anyone who's 60 kilo or against a 14-year-old. Anyone. And then you just get somebody quite the crowd. I'm like, Kamby, gonna have to wrestle these guys, adults, but it's crazy experience. And I see, Kamby will just like slam guys, and because the technical aspect, there's a lot of the guys wrestling with a lot of strength.
Yeah.
The actual technical ability wasn't there, and but it's brilliant, man, because he'd win, and then the basic thing is when you win, people come and give you money. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm grabbing my dude. Let's go and do a race. let's go on a race now, man. And next thing you know, man, you got loads of ones like, you're doing this next weekend again.
It was
a proper hustle back then, wasn't it? That's awesome.
But it's like proper and hard grass, all the tournaments were in summer, and
it's just.
But again, it was another building.
Oh man, some great memories, of the tournaments. Yeah, I mean, even good friends. I want to still stay in touch. Like Billy Kuna, I think a lot of the people know him on the circuit, wrestling circuit, kabaddi circuit. He's like renowned, you know. We're in touch all the time, you know. It's just these guys were like his brother, John Kuna. They're all like legends in this, you know. So I see myself like I still do look up to these guys.
Of course,
because they were role models. You know? So
no, it's great.
It was a crazy experience, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. So when was it when you got into the, because you represented Great Britain, you got into
I was on the national team.
Was that as a teenager, or was that when you were getting into your adult years?
Just on the border. But I remember being on the team as a schoolboy.
Oh,
okay. I was on the team quite young, you know, and I was on the team for many years. I even captained the team towards my later junior years.
You were captain at the Worlds, weren't you?
I was like,
99.
99 and 2000, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, at a young age, I was me and my friend Jet, who unfortunately he isn't with us anymore. But together
you guys were up and come.
Yeah, we always together. You know?
Always together.
We grew up together, and so we went through a lot of experiences and travelled to many different places. So I was always part of the team growing up. You know, at a young age. So it's amazing. The training is very different to the way it is now as well.
Yeah.
I think the way the training is now and the structure of it, it's a lot safer. People are getting less injuries, and I'm even seeing now. I'm hearing some athletes are not sparring before they go into events. I'm not sure about that.
Is that? I've heard that. Obviously, not heard it, but it's actually. I've seen it in the MMA in the UFC, with Max Holloway. Like he doesn't spar in his camp now, which is. There's pros and cons, right? There's pros and cons. And then I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast with Leon, like one of your fighters, and he was saying that he wouldn't be able to ever not spar and go into fight. And I was thinking about it myself, like back when I was competing, could you go into a fight without spar? I don't know. There's loads of pros and cons. It's weird.
I think with the high level guys, it suits them, but some of them, if they've been injured or they've had a little cut or something, they can't risk that opening again. So sometimes there's reasons behind why they don't spar. But like you said, it's something that I probably couldn't do. To keep that sharpness off.
We know what we used to put Pindi through when he used to fight.
Yeah. Like there's I knew you were gonna bring that up.
Saturday morning at 7:30.
There's times, right, when I'll be training for a fight and I'll think I was done with training, and never ever think you're done with training when you're training with these boys.
Oh man!
I still remember that one session I puked up because. I can't remember what
I think it was a wrestling session.
It was a wrestling session. It was 30 seconds on wrestling.
Oh man!
30 seconds straight onto an Olympic bar doing snatch, or something like that. It was 30 seconds wrestling, and then when he said, "Okay, you're done," we're finishing that round, I thought that was just training done. Man, when he said, "Okay, you gotta go again next round," I was like, whoop, and then just naturally, subconsciously, I just yacked it up. And this was at your old place, not the new
Kenyon
man.
Street.
Yeah. It's just crazy.
But we did the same. We got the same kind of principle with our fighters now. It's like, it's right. You're going to train hard. If you're going to be sick, you be sick, but you got 60 seconds to get back on the mat. We always try and, you got a minute rest in between a fight and a round.
Yeah.
However you do it, you're going to recover in 60 seconds.
Absolutely. And you know what? Proof's in the pudding, because you guys put me through that, obviously, and many other fighters, but you guys went through that. But in my opinion, you guys went through it times that by 10 because of the upbringing that you guys had with obviously, you know, we keep mentioning like with your dad that brought you up in these sports, right? Yeah. But Kamby, you went on to achieve phenomenal things and representing Great Britain from an athletic point of view, from a competitive point of view. Kaish, obviously, same with yourself, represented K-Star, Muay Thai, and you had such an amazing team around you with the likes of Steve Logan as your head coach, but then you had people like Damien Trainer. At the time it was Yogi. You had Henry. You know, what I love seeing is that you're all still in contact with each other as well. So I think it was about a couple of years ago you all had a big reunion, and it's great to see. And it's like, but because I remember, and I'm talking, I was a kid, And this is back in, I think Channel 5 was new. Do you remember when like Channel 5 started in the like,
Yes.
And then I don't know how Thai boxing got a bit of coverage, but Thai boxing used to come on Channel 5. And I remember watching you on Channel 5.
Ali Jacko, wasn't it? That?
Yeah.
And no disrespect, but you had hair then.
Yeah, man, that must have been decades ago.
But
yeah,
that was
it was it's funny, I forgot about that Channel 5 Pindi, like you mentioned it.
I remember that. I was literally, I don't even know. I think I must have been about 8 or 9, and this is because for me,
he was waiting for the topless starts.
Yeah, that's it. It's when mum and dad went to sleep. But I remember like back then there was no coverage of UFC wasn't to be seen.
Yeah.
Obviously, MMA wasn't around back then. Boxing was only special, like remember when like boxing used to be like when it was a big fighters used to be like like in that
on
era
ITV,
of like Eubank or Ben or
Tyson.
stuff like or Tyson or Bruno. So when Thai boxing all of a sudden got this coverage, and I was in love with Thai boxing before that anyway, but when it got that coverage, I was like, wow. And I remember just watching like some of these fighters, and that was it. And I was like seeing like the likes of yourself on there, Damien on there.
Yeah.
There was some other fighters like Woz Smith, who from Pride Pichai, and it's just like this old era.
Isn't it?
It's old era of Thai boxing.
That was a lot of credit to Ali Jacko, who's a kickboxer from London.
Okay.
And I think he was 2 or 3 time world champion kickboxer. But he was very big on the media side of things, and he had a lot of connections. And I remember meeting him, and he's like, we're going to get a show on Channel 5. And I was like, we were just used to find on small shows in Birmingham, and Tal Borum was a big show, but that was, remember you fought on there a few times. But when you came down with this film crew, and then next thing he was on Channel 5, I was like, wow, this is wicked. But more than anything, it kind of got Thai boxing a little bit on the map, because
100%.
even though like you said, it used to be on like 2, 3 in the morning. I just remember on a Saturday night, people would be like going out, and they're coming.
My dad used to record it on VHS back then.
No way.
My dad, VHS.
The
That was
VHS.
this is before DVDs. Yeah, we used to be the big tapes.
I remember one of my mates who's like, dude, he goes, I got in about 2, man. I was pissed. He goes, I'm pretty sure you're on TV. He goes, although I was like wrecked. He goes, I was on TV. I was like, because that's the time it used to come on.
But you both achieved so much in your sporting careers, in your athletic careers, and obviously, look, you winning the title, you winning gold, and all this. What? Obviously, it's only going to be natural you fall into a coaching role, and you guys obviously teamed up to open up what is now the amazing Fearless MMA, but this is going, what, you're probably talking about 2007-8 time, or slightly later,
about
and
then.
this is, and you just teamed up and you decided to open it. Where was your mindset to be like, this is what I want to do? Because again, no disrespect to the sports, but Muay Thai wasn't bringing in money at the time, and it's still like, it's only recently because of things like ONE FC and all this, like fighters are start to get what they deserve almost. And same with MMA. Obviously, MMA is with the UFC as well as ONE FC, etc. But back then, you wasn't competing to earn a living from, if that makes sense. So obviously, you guys are having to obviously have jobs and stuff. But where was it that you guys made that decision? I want to go into coaching. I want to start this up.
It's a strange one, it can be.
We stumbled on that, really.
Yeah. We were both kind of competing still around 2006, and then we were traveling around, and then we just came across that Hot On Factory. Remember?
Well,
it was a strange.
A strange. I could tell you the honest story.
Go for it. Go for it.
Names, but I could tell you the truth about it. We used to all train together. In another facility, and we kind of bumped heads with some of the guys, and they're not in a bad way. We were all still friends, and
of course.
And there was a few disagreements, and I had a competition I was looking to take part in at that time, and one of the guys thought it was best that we kind of did our own thing, which he did us a favor, I ended up looking for a place because I needed a place to train. I wasn't able to get to the gyms that were further away, it was difficult. So we a good friend of ours, actually, Bunty, gave us a little hut, it didn't have a room. It didn't have a roof. Sorry. It was like totally a shambles. This place,
right in the middle of Hamsworth.
And it was in the ghetto, and it was pretty rough. And my older brother Ash, Kaish isn't very good at DIY, so I'm not even going to give him a mention on this. So me and my brother Ash,
I could destroy things.
we could destroy things for
Can't put them
sure.
back together.
We've never done this, put a roof on, but we put a roof on this place and fell to the. I even fell off it.
Wow.
I will mention that. Yeah.
Wow.
And,
You fell through that?
I fell through it. Yeah.
Wow.
And we painted the place inside, and I just
the-
needed
got
a
the
place.
graffiti
To,
and there, I
I
remember-
just needed a place to train, didn't we?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We were desperate.
We've got some rough mats on the floor.
We got some horrible mats, you know, and I wrapped them with a cover because we didn't have canvases then, and it did the job. And we ended up just training in there because I had some really good wrestlers, friends of mine. I don't know where they are now. It's been a long time. A chap from Iran, from Poland, and a Russian guy who were great. You know, we're all about the same weight.
Of course.
And I was getting some good rounds in. I mean, at the time when we had to leave this place, we wrestled on the grass for about a couple of months, you know, because I was desperate. And
in the parks.
in the park, so we
Because
made
obviously you're still competing, so
Yeah,
you
we
need
still-
to get your
yeah.
training in. It's not as if
Yeah.
you're just full-time coaching.
So we managed to get this place up, and it was funny because my dad came in one of the days because he hadn't seen it, and I just kind of got on with it myself. And he looked at this place and he was like, "Son, what are you doing?" And because I was sweeping in there, and I said, I'm going to turn this into a little training gym. And he goes, "Yeah, look, tell me what you need, and we can get it done." I said, "I'm very stubborn.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want any handouts. I'll do it myself."
100%.
And I think I worked in parcel line on the side a little bit to get a bit of money together, and
Yeah.
just to
Them
kind of
days.
fit this little place out.
Yeah.
And it worked. It used to leak in bad weather, and it was
Get the
freezing
buckets out in it.
in the cold. And when it was hot, it was very hot. Like, but I tell you something, we got into phenomenal. We created many champions
Yeah.
at that place.
But it's strange, Pindi, because it's just a little hut and like it's a bit rough mats. But we used to get our training in there. Like,
Yeah.
I think we were doing qualifiers or something. I had a couple of fights coming up, and you know, I was still training at K-Star and stuff. But we wanted looking for something a bit closer to home,
Of course.
so he can get the wrestlers in and stuff. So and then, like I said, it was in the proper backstreet gully of
It was
Handsworth.
so horrible.
You wouldn't at night. You wouldn't walk down there.
Yeah, it's dark.
And then it was strange. It's a strange thing. People started coming in, knocking on the door. Are you teaching martial arts? No, we're not teaching martial arts.
It was a bunch of
So-
our mates, really.
Yeah, but that's where
Was
Simon
it-
Hammond came in.
Was it just so I can get it in my head? But you guys only opened that for you
Training.
just to
Originally,
train.
it was just
Just
for
to
a minute.
train.
Yeah, it was just a little. It
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
this
yeah.
is just going to be for us. And then it was just like slowly. I was still working schools then. I was
Yeah.
doing like youth work and
Yeah.
behavior mentoring and stuff like that. And then I was working at a school called Kingsbury, and we came up with this thing where we used to take kids out, and we developed
okay.
something with Palmer. We developed the Champions Project, where we're like part of youth work, where we'll get the kids out and engage them into sports. And martial arts was big for us. When we were
Yes.
growing up in the middle of Handsworth,
course.
stuff that we were facing, martial arts was a wicked diversion for us to get us into something positive
Yeah.
rather than a lot of our mates went into the other stuff. Do you know
Yeah,
what I
of
mean?
course.
And that was also battle, you know. Like,
Yes.
should we go this way? Should we go that way? But martial arts always kept us
Yeah.
grounded, I think.
Focused
And
and
again, it's
disciplined.
grateful to all our coaches and our father who got us into it. But anyway, I've got you probably remember Pindi because you fought on the same shows as Ibi Khan. So Ibi was one of the kids that I was working with at the school. Luke Greenshells was one of the kids I was. They were the first two kids we actually put
Really?
into the gym.
Actually,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I brought them into the hut, right? Because they're all fucking about at school.
Yeah,
right,
of
guys,
course.
gonna get you into the gym.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
So
Let's start-
Luke and Ibby started at the hut.
they were the first
Yeah,
two.
yeah.
They were the
yeah.
first two at the hut. And
Wow.
this guy's like, this kid's a natural wrestler. And I was like, it's strange because
He
Luke's
was,
a
yeah.
brilliant striker. And, you know, these two kids, they're in between long story, yeah? They went on to fight at the high level of wrestling, MMA.
Yeah.
Luke fought on some of the biggest shows in the UK as a time
He
boxer.
fought in Rajadam, didn't he?
He fought in Rajadam
Yeah.
in
I was
Thailand.
going to say
yeah.
Luke's
Yeah.
tie was
It was
Brilliant,
good,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He actually moved up to Leeds for a bit, and I sent him down to
Badco.
Badco.
Yeah,
And I remember Liam saying this kid's really, really good. But yeah, it was just like, and then from then, we had people like H who are still with us now. His 3 kids have grown up with us. And
Oh, yeah.
Simon Hammond is one of my main coaches.
Yeah,
Levi in
yeah,
India.
Am's Claire, you know.
Raj
Just to name
Salan.
a few,
Raj
yeah,
Salan.
just to
There were
name a
so
few,
many of these guys that came in, and they're still with us today, thankfully. But like, I know a lot of people come on drop
That's
off.
credit to yourselves. That's credit to yourselves.
So this was
And
in
this was-
2000. Sorry. Peter.
Yeah, go on.
This was in 2000. So what was going to happen? We were going to have our 10-year anniversary in 2020 of Fearless in our
Yeah.
new place.
Yeah.
Because I went over to a trip in Thailand, and
That's
he's-
what I took on. Isn't it?
yeah, I phoned this guy from. He's like,
Yeah.
"Cash, I got this place, and it's in the jewelry quarter. Let's move from the hut here." And I was like, dude, I don't know if we're ready to make this move yet because it's 15.
You were fighting, weren't you, at that time? Or were you training there? I'm sure you had a fight at that time.
Was this in 2010?
I went off to fight in 2008.
Oh,
me and Yogi fought in Chuang Stadium in Thailand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he's phoned me. He's like, look, I'm going to take this place. Let's take this place on. And I'm like, I'm not sure, because it's a big, it's a
big responsibility, isn't it?
You've got to start paying bills, got to start rates, council tax,
all of that.
So anyway, we come back.
Well, you were like, Kamby, you're not doing it.
Yeah. I was just
You're not doing it. It's too expensive.
I was still working part time. I was still
course.
working in the schools and stuff like that. And it's a big gamble, isn't it? But then, however it came about, Kenyon Street was, we moved in there, set it up, put the cage in the middle.
I'm stubborn, like I said.
Got it over.
He's away, and I says, you know what?
I'm
doing this, yeah. And I went in. I didn't have a clue about any of this legal stuff. I signed something. Well, obviously, and he's come back and he's like, Cam, what are you doing? I mean, he's like, I remember you walking in saying, Cam, we'll never fill this place out because it was massive.
It was huge. Yeah.
You remember
Kenyon Street?
I love that
We'll never fill this place out.
I love your new place, but
That's
so
their
many.
home, innit?
A lot of people say that, Pindi. What you say?
I love your new place.
That
Absolutely love it. But I had such great memories of that place, and I want to give a little shout out to Dave Hill. I know you're probably listening out there, because if it wasn't for Dave Hill, I wouldn't have met you guys. I don't.
Oh,
think.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Dave Hill was training with myself and my dad here. Not here, sorry, at the old gym. We were just in Mercia. And I remember Dave Hill coming in, and we used to have a little roll, and he used to absolutely like tangle me up and choke me here, there, and everywhere. Then he started doing a lot of stand up together, and then he was like, "Oh, if you ever fancy doing more training, because I'm competing." He's the one that got me into competing MMA because I was like, "Wow," because I wanted to always do it, but he was actually physically doing it.
Yeah.
And I went to his first, I think it was his second or third
On the amateurs,
on the amateur,
Dave's a badass, man.
Yeah, Dave then introduced me to Mark, and then got JD to train with us, and then we all started traveling to yourself.
Oh, it's wicked.
I can't remember what year. It was definitely 2008 because I had my first MMA fight in 2008, and Dave was in my corner training me and stuff. And long story short, Dave's got the better of me and everything. Won the fight, but I just relied so much on my tie in that fight. I won by just kneeing the guy basically.
Yeah.
But the guy kept taking me down, and he's like, "Oh man, we got to work on wrestling." And he's like, Kaish and Kamby, because you just posted some pictures. This is when Facebook was just starting off, and not starting off, but Facebook was getting a bit more popular here.
Yes.
And I can't remember, one of you two posted some pictures of the cage being built. It wasn't built yet, but it's just being built.
Yeah.
And Dave was like, we need to go there. I was like, all right, sounds like that. So I think Dave went first, and I come with him, and that was it. And then that was our journey at Kenyon Street.
We've been friends ever since, ain't we?
Brilliant, man.
Yeah. But that was it, man. So a big shout out to Dave, man.
Lovely. But remember, we all trained, Dave trained to fight Conor McGregor in Kenyon Street.
This is what,
It was big, Saturday morning sparring.
The fight camps there, and Paddy, what's his name? Pimlet? Just got signed to UFC.
Paddy Pimlet.
Yeah. He came down. I don't know if you remember that. He came down. Mark, and him and a teammate, because Fish Gold, all them guys come down. We absolutely got pasted. That was a Wednesday night. I remember.
They were good. They're good. Well, they still.
I was preparing for my on Ammer as well, on Mark Shaw. I was preparing for my lightweight title fight, and I was like, and I was feeling so good. I remember thinking, I'm gonna handle this. And these guys just absolutely annihilated us on the ground.
That now, but I didn't know Pimlet was there as well.
Yeah, he came down and
he's so young then, and I was thinking,
he still looks quite young, doesn't he?
Still looks young, but then he was
that's brilliant news. He's got signed as well.
Congratulations, man. He long deserved that. But I remember thinking, I'm gonna show some of my wrestling off, because this is when I was started to get a bit of wrestling going. I was like, And then this little kid just double legged me, slammed me, was like balls. I was like, whoa.
No full on wars we used to have that.
That's what I'm saying. Sparring then, and we not saying it's all. It was all organized, but it was like sparring then was little, like the 6 hours. It wasn't like tip tap.
People getting KO'd on a Saturday
didn't
morning.
have a gum shield in, I'm sure.
Man.
It was like,
I know I didn't like wearing it.
Yeah. Like if we didn't have to,
I paid the price for that.
I remember
Well, he's to blame for mine.
I'm not used to that. I'll claim that one.
Mate, my whole mouth was ripped open and my teeth were all over.
It's mad because he's training for a competition.
Yeah.
You had many years ago, I had a fight coming up, and we're both knackered. It was like Birmingham wrestling, wasn't it?
It's horrible, man.
Knackered. But I was like another round. I'm like, fuck, dead. And you know, when you're tired, you do dumb stuff, and I've shot in, and I've
Tired, you do dumb shit when you.
I've headed up this guy. I don't mean to, and I've looked on the floor, and I've seen something white drop on the floor. I thought, fucking, that's weird, isn't it? Yeah. And I looked up at him. There's no tooth in his mouth. I'm like, he's like,
it wasn't that. I was lying down, and I remember like I must have been knocked out because he's gone in with his head. Yeah, and it's gone straight into my mouth, and I didn't have a gum guard in. And I opened my eyes, and he's standing around, and there's a few people standing around. I'm like, felt really numb. My mouth did, but when I sat up, he's like, "I'm sorry, you know. I'm sorry, you know." And I'm looking at this guy, and I'm thinking everything just feels numb. Pindi, I don't know how it felt for you when you knocked yours out.
Yeah.
Same. My God, it was sharp, and then the pain.
Then the pain kicks in about a minute or so later, and you're like,
your nerves get exposed.
Yeah, mate. It wasn't nice.
Uncomfortable.
We went into hospital together because I had a real deep gash in my mouth. It was really cut open. We went into hospital, so I sat down. This fucker goes in first. They pull him in first. And I'm like, the guy who's done it.
I had a gash in my head.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so I'm looking and I'm thinking, that ain't right, you know?
Yeah.
So he's been pulled in first because my tooth, I think some of it was still in your head.
Stuck in there. And that can get infectious, in it?
Yeah.
So, mate, they gave me a tablet about this big and they sorted my lip out. But
did they stitch it up, was it? Or did they say they can't? Because for me, they didn't stitch mine up.
Did they stitch yours?
Nah, they couldn't. I wanted to stitch it because it wouldn't stop bleeding. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, inside,
Yeah.
Sorry, I punched my mate in the mouth.
As you do, guys.
Inspiring. His was bad. Tony, if you're listening, because he goes to me, is it bad? And I was like, mate, you're going to be all right. Just don't eat anything salty or spicy for a few days.
You couldn't 10 weeks.
10 weeks, yeah. That's how, like, mine was all like proper gashed in, and I was I needed something because I remember like even like my own, you know, as disgusting as it sounds, like, you know, when you like your own
blood,
like even that was all stinging. I was like, how am I gonna drink something? How am I gonna eat something?
Mate,
it was just like
it was bad. It was a bad one.
It's just so. It was just, but that
I laugh about it now though.
I know.
I have to live because my tooth looks like. It doesn't even look like a human tooth. It looks like they've took a horse's tooth.
It's brilliant, man. His tooth is.
You don't realise how big it is.
It's massive. It's huge. It's right up the top.
Man, some good times, man. Some good times. But yeah, going back to what I was saying. So no, it's true. But the spa was back then, like we were saying, we didn't have not saying we didn't have to, but some of us wouldn't wear gum shields and stuff like that. It was a bit. It's a bit silly thinking about it, obviously. But we were younger.
I don't think we knew any better, you know.
Whereas now, like when we come down, everyone's like vast up, head guards are on, gloves are taped. Do you remember like back then when we used to do stuff like we wouldn't care about Velcro stretching it? Or do you know what I mean? Like now everything's like properly done. I was like,
go home
in one way, it's so good because MMA, Muay Thai, all of that side of it, the athletes now, I'll call them athletes because they are actually like
100%.
They're getting paid, they're getting looked after properly, and it's so great to see that, and it's rightly so that they are doing it. But a part of me would love that old school era of going back into just having that rough. Do you get what I mean? Like it's
dingy gyms,
But it's great to see the evolution of it all, and that's so good. But going back to now, so you guys obviously 2008, you decided that's where Fearless, was it 2008?
So we were still in the hut, but then we actually got into the Kenya Street. It was 2010, January 2010.
Was it? Yeah, I'm
end of Jan. That's what we wanted to have a 10-year thing because in 2020, but then the lockdown kicked in. So we'll get something together, I think, for the, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%.
10 years, it's for me, it's gone.
Because I remember that first year in 2010, like, you got, when did you, like, if you don't mind, when did you decide to give up your gloves from competition, like from yourself?
My last fight was in Thailand when we went over. That was in 2008.
Oh wow, that's the last one.
And then
do you miss it?
I miss it, man. But you know what I'm really grateful for is that I'm still around it.
Yes.
So I'm grateful. I get up in the morning, I'm grateful, man, that I'm still always, you know what I mean? I can still train and
we've been through some wars, haven't we?
Yeah. But you realise now that you've got to stay fit and healthy for the younger generation. Like, you've still got to get on the mat for these guys. 100%. So, you know, like, you got Jake in the gym now. Jake's 2-time world champion, you know, and holding pads for that kid.
Mate, he kicks like
bearing in mind, like, what weight is he? 57?
He fights that flyweight.
Yeah. Like, I've seen footage on Insta of Facebook. Yeah. And he's doing a left kick.
Yeah.
And like you could hear, like I had my AirPods in and I was like, like proper thud, and you could see the bend in the crease in the pads. I was like, that's when you know someone's kicking correct, because the crease in the pad is going in, man.
But you know what you just mentioned about the evolution of fighters, it's phenomenal to see, because like with the strength and conditioning coming into it, and they're splitting it properly. They're coming to Kamby for the wrestling, and it's good for us because we can work our specifics for these guys, And when you see actually working a fight for them, like I think when Jake fought Saj, constantly drilling that body kick. I was like, Jake, you're gonna land this body kick. You're gonna land this body kick. Believe in it, believe in it. And I was like, when you do land it, a few of them, people are gonna feel it, and just got that belief into him. And when he threw it, I was like,
because one thing after that fight, I absolutely love. I can't remember if you posted it, Cam, or Kaish, if you put it on the Fearless MMA page, but it was something like, "This is why practice makes perfect." And there's a clip of you drilling just one combo, of the body kick. And it was like coming in with the kick and the hook, something like that, or elbow or something.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how you did it, but you
put
the clip in of the fight, and he did the exact same thing and dropped it. I was like, yo, that is so good.
That's really rewarding to see. Kamby's really good at that as
well.
Editing
I'm getting better.
Editing them things.
Technology, I'm the same, man. I can't. I've only just got TikTok, guys, so I don't know how to. Manny's gonna teach me, guys, how to use TikTok, because I don't know how to post on it. I keep seeing these stories, but
you're gonna see Pindi dancing on
on TikTok,
miming to songs.
Yeah.
Which I've actually seen him do that.
Yeah, at my wedding.
It was good laughing.
But no, and Cam, when did you decide to put your boots up, shall I say?
I did the trials for 2004, and then I continued to train. That's when we had that split with the gym.
Yeah.
And I did a few small events after that, and it just kind of went more in towards coaching. I started jiu-jitsu, actually, to tell you the truth.
Oh.
I did a bit of judo. I went into judo. And I tried boxing. I used to go Thai boxing with Kaish anyway.
Yeah. We've always hit pads and stuff.
We've always done, but I was trying to fill this hole of wrestling, But you end up coming back to it. I did try other sports. I mean, Chu was at the old hut.
Yeah.
And I started doing, and I don't know if a lot of the guys will probably remember the old. I shouldn't say that actually, because Dom ain't that old. I don't know Dom's surname, but it used to be me, Dom, Chu, and a handful of us. A bunty used to come down now.
Yeah. Ben,
and I went in more towards like Nogi stuff. It used to.
Okay.
It favoured. It mixed well with the wrestling.
Yeah.
And but you kind of stick to what. Well, I say good at. Better.
Of course.
So
you've been wrestling since you were 5, though, haven't you?
5, 6 years old.
Competed when he was competing when he was 6, doing the mini. You used to call it mini wrestling.
Oh, yeah,
that's crazy, because if you think about it, like I've got like my nephew 6, and I can't ever imagine him like competing at the level that you guys like.
Penny, it's crazy because but it's crazy. Like my dad, we said earlier about you can just Google a gym now. You can Google anything.
Of course.
I remember my dad up on a Friday night, and he's got the old A to Z maps.
Wow.
And he's kind of highlighting
the route.
And these wrestling tournaments, he's been like the corner of Scotland, corner of Wales.
It was really random,
And I remember we were in the car, like waking up, and then Dad's asking for directions. I don't think does anyone ever ask for directions? They don't. But my dad would get there. You had to weigh in at 9. We'd be there an hour early.
Always on time.
And I'm sure you'd always get the odd fucker giving you the wrong directions. I swear we did.
It's that way.
Honestly, we did. Yeah.
But it's like it's crazy. But the years of competing, but like you're saying, like competing at 6 and stuff now. So my son's been wrestling, my daughter's wrestling, Kamby's little one's wrestling. And so when you were talking earlier about my dad coming into the gym, there's a picture actually, because Kamby's little one's wrestling. He's only 6K, and he's just got a natural...
Well, he competed at 5, didn't he?
Yeah. Wow.
Well, we went to
I
a
didn't
tournament.
want him to be honest.
We went to a tournament in Slough. My son was competing, and he wasn't allowed. Kaish and Kamby's little one wasn't allowed to compete because he got to be at 6, and he's just dragging this guy. Dad, I want to wrestle. Dad, I want to wrestle. And then there was an age group above them, and the lad that just won the
tournament, I think.
He just won the tournament, and Kamby's gone to the dad. Look, can you just have a friendly, it was a friendly that became like the best match of the night. Like
It was good.
It was unreal.
Yeah,
you know,
it was,
everyone was up on their feet because the guys are so little. But and I remember the guy on the mic's like, if you want to learn, come and watch this match.
Yeah,
Because the technique with these guys,
proper.
Yeah.
And you know, it became from being a friendly into these. Kayson's trying to get this kid, and this other 7-year-old kid really good. But Kayson in the end pins him, and it was just like my dad. You could see the look on my dad's face, man. You know, it's just so proud to see.
He was,
It gone from him wrestling, Kamby wrestling, now our kids
to his
wrestling.
grandkid.
Yeah.
And you just touched up on there saying you don't want him to. Is that something that you guys are, because of the way you guys are brought up, is that something you don't want to, not you want to pass down the art, the discipline and all of it, but do you want to pass, do you want your kids to compete or not? How do you guys feel about that?
I think we do. Yeah. I think what you learn from, not only from winning, what you learn from losing.
100%.
You know, like
100%.
there's a lot of podcasts and YouTube videos that are telling you about positivity now. But like we've been there. You know, when you've lost a fight,
you feel
it's
you're all
like,
alone, man.
You know,
you're all alone.
But what do you do? Do you stay down or do you say, right? I remember I lost my first fight. I'm like, you know, I felt overly confident. I was like, a kid, man, this is it. And it was a close fight. I lost the fight by a point, whatever.
I always say that's probably your best fight.
Like,
as in a war-wise, you didn't give up.
Yeah, because Thai boxing CCAS then was 3 2-minute rounds.
Oh, really?
They weren't 5 1.5s.
Okay.
And 3 2s is the bell goes. It was just like
just
a war.
go
The
for
tougher,
it.
fitter guy won, basically. And it was one of them. But I remember a few weeks later, it was a Tao show. And I was like, coach to Steve, I was like, I want to fight again. But I was nervous inside, but I was like, I'm going to fight again. Because just want to
get it, your system.
Yeah. Or I could have gone the other way and say, you know what, fuck that. I don't want to feel that losing feeling again. You know. But that's what happens in life, isn't it?
Of course.
You're not always going to win.
Yes.
You've got it.
You're 100%
in
right.
business, me and this guy, lost in business, and you succeed in business. But that's life. That's why one of the reasons why you ask Pindi. I do want them to compete, really. You know, whether they'll win whatever titles, just it's what competition teaches you.
100%.
I think the longevity of it really is the reason why I try and keep him a little bit at bay. You know, he's keen, isn't he? Both of them are really keen.
Yeah.
3 of them, sorry, I should say, and Anaya, even though she's I always think she's going to go into gymnastics because she's
My daughter's
phenomenal with flipping around the house.
Wow.
Anyway, she's good. But it's just keeping him a little bit at bay. You don't want to rush him into it, and I bring him into the gym as a reward, you know. So if he's had a good week at school and he's done well, and then I'll bring him in.
Not often.
Takes after his dad.
Having them talks with the teacher isn't very. Nah, he's a good kid. He's a good kid. I'm messing.
But they've also seen Kai grow up. My nephew Kai.
Okay.
And Kai was.
How old's Kai now? Because I remember seeing
Kai's
Kai.
18 now.
Whoa.
Yeah, mate.
Whoa.
You gotta see him.
I thought you were going to say something. Oh, yeah.
10.
11.
Yeah.
18.
He's 18
I remember seeing him back in the day and he was like smacking pads then. Like, I can't believe
So when my son was born in 2011, Kai had just won the British just the week before. So they've grown up watching him compete. And all. So I think they want that competition element, which, you know, cool. If they want it, we're going to.
It's cute because I saw a little clip that you put up of your little one, and you're like, oh, he's going to take after his uncle. And you're holding pads for him, and you're like,
banging pads.
I was like,
He's brilliant, man.
Simon always says it. He's like, Cam, Orion's going to wrestle. Kayson will be a Thai boxer. And I'm like, he's not. But then when I see him hitting pads and he enjoys it, he really enjoys it.
He loves it, man.
He just got that.
He's got
it in his blood because he used to, but it just like, I mean, when someone
he bangs,
I was like, that is wicked.
For a little boy.
But you know, like we were just talking about people like Jake. There's so many lads in our gym.
Yeah.
You know,
like
Ryan,
now, you
Jude,
guys have got one of, in my
Josh.
opinion, one of the best pro teams in the country.
Wow.
One of the best because you guys now are training the likes of Jake. You guys are training current one of the, in my opinion, who should be a title contender, champion. In the UFC, Leon Edwards, his brother Fabian. You guys have got such a caliber of fighters on your mats right now. How I was saying this before the podcast, I was saying this weeks ago as well, like, you guys I'm so glad that the world is recognizing Fearless MMA. I'm so glad that the world is recognizing Coach Kaish and Coach Kamby, because we were having these conversations with like the likes of 10 years ago when everyone was training at Kenyon Street Fearless MMA, and you had the likes of Dave Hill training for Conor McGregor's, and that was a lightweight lightweight world title, wasn't
World
it? Or
title on cage
featherweight.
race.
Sorry, my mistake. Featherweight world title it was
On
back
cage
then.
race,
Yeah,
and whoever won that was going to the UFC.
Yeah,
basically, innit?
absolutely. And like Dave was like literally, so close away.
Brilliant
from
fight, yeah.
Brilliant fight as well.
Tom Breeze was there.
Tom Breeze.
Chris Neer.
Tom Breeze at the time was becoming the Bama welterweight or middleweight at the
Welterweight,
time.
I think.
Welterweight,
Yeah.
Bama champion, world champion.
Yeah.
On the verge of getting signed off to the UFC. So it's great that all these fighters were coming out of Fearless MMA, but Fearless MMA really didn't get the full recognition. The likes of like Ada Lees and was Chris Myers? Was it Chris Myers?
He's there
Chris
now.
Myers with you.
He's been with us for good few years. He's been a
There's
while.
so many fighters that have been here, there, and everywhere, which is great, and I'm so happy for everyone. But now, like, you guys are there getting recognized for what you've done. Since 2008, do you get what I mean? And it's so good to see, and like it really made my honestly like a little, without sounding too soppy, but a little tear come out at my idea about the day I was watching Leon fight a couple of weeks ago, and I saw Coach coming out, walking out in Vegas, and I was like, yes, fine, like it's so good to see. Do you get what I mean?
That's the cream of the crop there, isn't it?
So, 100%, and it's in my opinion, it's about time. Do you get what I mean? This should happen 10 years ago, but it's good to see that it's happening now.
It's
and
crazy.
you've
What
got
do you think,
such a
Kamby?
team behind you that are still up and coming. Does that mean that's the beauty of it? The scary, not beauty, scary, isn't it?
You know, our youngsters, people like Iman and Raheem,
the wrestlers,
they're phenomenal. Like, I remember Kamby teaching the class before lockdown, and the adults, like, there's a lot of adults on the mat, and they're doing the technique wrong, and he's just like, guys, if you want to learn, come and watch our kids' class.
100%.
No joke.
They're not messing around. They're not fucking about. Like, they don't question stuff. They do. And the technique's on point, but like, the youngsters are the future. And what we've always said, fighters will come and go.
Yes.
And like, I think original two fighters, when Ibby and Luke, I always go back to them because they were,
they were the originals.
and
of
they're
course.
competing at such a high level. And when they left, it was like, fucking, we were a bit heartbroken, like, you know what I mean? It's like, shit, man. And they didn't leave to, like, go to other gyms, but they left and, like, they're doing their own thing. Successful in what they're doing now.
Because they
very
start off
successful.
young, they grow,
Well,
But I remember at the time, we were like, shit, man, we've put quite a time and effort into this.
Yeah.
But, since then, what we always say is, whoever's with us, we're going to give them 100%. Do you know what I mean? It's like...
whether they're a new person off the street, never done anything before. Because I treat everyone the same. Whether it's a junior that's at like 10 years old, and we've got a competitor at 18, I try and give the same attention. It's only right, because that junior hopefully will grow up to be the same as that competitor,
100%.
I think you got role models like that in the gym. Like my little one, he'll look up and see Jake on TV.
Oh, yeah, they
see
love
Jake
Jake,
win the cage war as world title. It's like, oh wow,
I want to be like that.
So before, before it was like, or you're watching GSP win it in Las Vegas, and now you got that going in your gym. So these I always remind these guys, you guys are role models, so be positive.
Of course,
you know what I mean. But fighters will come and go, and it is heartbreaking when they leave and stuff like that. But we said when they're with us, we're going to give them. We want to make
always have,
them better. You know what
absolutely,
I mean?
absolutely, and it's so good to see. And like you've got such a caliber of fighters now on your mats. But not only that. And this is where we started off the podcast, and I was saying, I'd love to get in your headspace because you've got things going so well at the current Fearless MMA. Lockdown's happened. We're coming out of lockdown now. A lot of people's mental health has been affected in the past.
Sadly,
sadly, it's been affected. A lot of depression and all sorts going on. But you guys have used that time so wisely. Does that make sense? Like,
you've never been so busy, I think.
It's true.
You guys have decided to not only open up another gym, you've ventured off and opened up a few multiple different businesses going on, and it's so good to see. But where does that drive come from? Is it like, do you get what I mean? Like, where
I think
explain it.
It's funny, Pindi, you going back to what you were saying about like training and why we want to encourage all youngsters. We would say like, if you're into Thai boxing, wrestling, you're into football, just get out there, do something physical.
It's not always our sports, is it?
No.
It's anything.
So kids will like, but it's going back to that thing. I think like we've always been out training, and he's always been out training. So we can't sit down. So like when lockdown started, me and him sat in the office. We've got another business partner, Arif, man, he's brilliant, and we're like, guys, what can we do? And it was just mad. We just came up with we're going to open a cleaning company. And we opened up Matrix. We opened up Matrix. It was like everyone was like need to get their places fogging. Yeah, so we opened a professional cleaning company, and it's been brilliant. Like going into fogging places. Then thankfully we've still had the pro fighters training at our gym. So of course, pro fighters are still allowed to train.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
And then on top of that, we've got a few other bits and bobs, the pub and the restaurants.
Because that all got affected as well, obviously.
Yeah,
that all got affected with the whole pandemic that we were in.
Again, when that happened, we turned our restaurant, well, it's still there, into like a takeaway. So we're still generating something. And then we got two pubs, a bar and a pub. Yeah. So what we did, we got an extension going on at the moment. So another
headache.
Another headache. Oh, man. But we turned one half of it into an off license and a pizza shop because we knew that's going to generate money.
Of course.
People are not able to go in and sit in and eat, but they're still able to. I know it's a bit opposite to what we do in the gym. But we still got to pay our bills, So,
demand, of course, no, absolutely. So. But on top of that, you guys have created an awesome gym, another awesome gym. I've just been seeing pictures of it. I've not been there. I'm looking at
this one. We're really excited about this one.
Yeah, and you've done one of the craziest things I've never seen in my life, and there's a bloody cage in the air. Where the hell did that come from? That was awesome.
It's crazy, man. We've got a partner in the business on that side, Ibby, and this guy's got some visions, man. They're brilliant, and
he's next level. Ibby is.
I'd say he thinks out the box, but I don't think he thinks in. There's no box for him.
Yeah.
But him and Kamby, these guys, because he's always said to me, "Want to get a super gym?" I was like, "Yeah, man. Not only your traditional weights and your martial arts, and me and him all saying, it'd be good to get a gym with a sauna, steam room." Pindi, you've been there when you've competed, ice baths.
Running around to get a sauna. Trying every gym out just to get a
sauna. Trying to wake up before the fight.
Yeah.
And we thought, imagine we got all this under one place. And then I think we've added to that. We've got a barbershop in there. Hijama cupping service, physiotherapy. But it's
so really, it's kind of like kind of like a retail store, or like a shopping mall type of thing in one gym.
It's a crazy story because we were looking at many different places.
Yeah.
And we had a plan laid out and everything what we wanted to do, and then we crossed paths with Ibby and he had the exact same plan.
It's so weird.
Everything he spoke about and mentioned, we were looking at each other like, how weird is that? How is it?
We've actually got the plans.
Yeah.
Just about a few months before we met him, this is how we set it up. We'd have a barbers here, and then
we didn't get the plans in the other location. They weren't granted, obviously through the council.
Yeah, of course.
These things happen, but it like I say, there's always a better plan. God has a better plan for you.
There's always.
But we know that flight in cage, Pindi. It's so weird. Like he's phoned me, Ibby, and he's like,
whose idea was that?
Ibby's.
I thought you were going to say that. I was Kamby's.
He's phoned me and he's like, Kaish, what's missing in the gym? I said, nothing, dude. I think we covered everything. Yeah. I said, there's the thing that's missing is a cage. I said, but don't worry about it because you can't fit it in anyway. And he's like, I'm going to find a place for it. I was like, this guy's crazy, man. Little did I know that he's going to put it in the fucking floating cage in the air. So I was there on Wednesday. Me and Arif went there on Wednesday. Kamby was in Vegas.
I was in Vegas
with Leon.
I just got a picture of this frame in the air, and I'm like, dude, he's actually going to do it.
Yeah, well, he's
I thought,
talking about
sometimes your mate will say, we should do this, and it's, you say, we'll do it. We'll do it in a year or two. Or something. But I got a picture when I was in Vegas, and I'm like, no way.
He's put a runway in, and there's a walkway into there, and it's floating in the end. I was just like,
I'm thinking for the future. If you ever hold him into club or something, that is going to be crazy. Because technically, that runway will be like a little entry for.
Like a fight?
Like a fight.
That same sort of feeling.
So the spectators can be downstairs watching it. They can be there.
Yeah.
Like screens up if they can't see properly.
Well, we've got screens up in there. It's an amazing.
That'd be awesome. I'm looking forward to just
training there.
Training there. Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
I'm not going to jump the cage there. Forget.
No, don't.
No, can you imagine?
Can't do that, Pindi, on this one.
No, on this one. Yeah, I won't do that. Forget that.
But
no, that's awesome, man. So in terms of obviously, you've got this super new gym opening up. Opened up. Sorry. You've got your current amazing gym that you got with Fearless MMA, as obviously the other ventures. How you managing your time and everything? Because I'm sure like a lot of people listening out there, and a lot of people are inspired, and like for me personally, I love listening to like inspirational podcasts and getting inspired by like other mindsets, like watching. I was listening to like Joe Rogan and Elon Musk, and like all these other amazing podcasts. And you're like, wow, like some of these influences in the world out there that like, that is so inspiring to hear. But like I'm sure the listeners out there will want to know how you've running multiple businesses, and more importantly as well, being there with your family, being there with your pros that are now fighting in the big leagues like the UFC. How are you doing it, man?
It's mad.
How you doing
when
it?
you put it like that, you got me thinking.
Are you living off espressos and stuff like that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sometimes.
That coffee's nice, actually.
Thank you. Thank you.
But it's hard work, it can be.
Yeah, it is.
We are working. We are working 14, 16 hours a day. If I'm honest, we're up early.
You got to put it in. You got to put these 100-hour weeks in if you want to get results at the end of it.
It's difficult, getting messages of some of the guys, and I'm working with some of the guys now who, some of the guys on the Team GB who are going to be doing the wrestling for trials for I think some of them made the cut for the next Commonwealth Games. So I'm working with some of them, and they're like, Coach, are you joining on? And I get, if it's rounds, I'm going to jump in, but I'm knackered, at the end of it. And then we got to get up in the morning, and then we got to do this, and you're sore, and then you got another session, and you get involved, and it just catches up with you,
100%.
Yeah, but again, we love what we do, and I think that's what gets us
100%,
gets us going. If I don't wrestle, or if I don't do any rounds in the week, then there's a problem. I don't feel right, or
it's so true with what you're saying, because and I was saying this with a few like on another podcast, but because we're very fortunate to earn a living of something that we absolutely love doing, which started off for you guys with the martial arts, and same with myself. I've had that 9-to-5 job, and I've had like where you're working in an office job and stuff, and I've had like those that sort of, and I remember coming to Sunday night and thinking, man, I'm not looking forward to a Monday morning, having to go to work and stuff, and this is while I was still competing. But then when I decided to like make that step and become self-employed and run a gym full time and run this full time and etc., it's like, because you got the passion for it, it never feels like it comes to Sunday night and I can't sleep because I'm excited to get up for Monday to get going again, and you guys have got that same mindset, and you guys have just explained it because you got passion for it. It doesn't feel almost like work, but linked with that, you just touched upon wrestling and getting the training in. But it's so important for even the listeners out there that you must get your body be like doing something, being active. Does that make sense? Whether it be a little jog out there, whether it be whatever it is that you need to do, even if you can't physically exercise, go for a walk or something. And Kamby and Kaish, you guys just hit the nail on the head, because like I see you guys always on the mats, but like you just said, when you're not on the mats, something's not you. I don't think you'd be able to do as much as you're doing, if that makes sense.
Mentally, I don't think you're as geared up,
Yeah, because the endorphins,
like wrestling with the guys the other day, we had some really good level guys in, and it's just nice to still share the mat with them sort of athletes, and be part of that. It makes you feel good. So I think it's important,
There's enough hours in the day, really. Like I was listening to, you just talking about you listen to like Elon Musk and John. I was listening to David Goggins.
Oh man, that guy's
so when you talk about like, you work from 9 to 5, normal thing is you go home and whatever, training or whatever. But there are enough hours in the day, and he bangs the nail on the head. Like, get up early, find a way, basically. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, I completely agree with that, and you guys are proving the pudding again with that as well. But I love this famous saying. We've all got the same 24 hours. All of us have got the same 24 hours. It's how we use our time wisely enough. Does that make sense? So like you just said there as well, make sure if it's the case, you've got a 16-hour day ahead, why get up to do you get what I mean? Why have a line? Do you know what I mean? Get your ass out of bed by 5 o'clock and just get going. We call it the 5 a.m. club. And do you know what I mean?
I know.
Beat the morning, they say.
Beat
the morning.
Say that again.
You're up quite early, ain't you? I see you on your Zoom classes.
I do my class. I'm a big, because of people like David Goggins and like getting up early. If I don't get up early at 5 a.m. and physically train, like I put on do something. I don't know if this is psychological or what, but the rest of my day isn't productive.
Does
that make sense? Yeah. So I need to physically get my body awake, so I'll do something. Then I can get on with the rest of the day. And I fell in a trap. This was after competing. I fell in a trap of not road running, not really training much, because I don't know if you guys ever felt this after competing, but because you put your body through so much, and I don't know how it was for you guys, but cutting weight.
Oh, mate.
Cutting weight and dieting and eating like literally like little portions of food to make your weight and etc. Doing all that. I remember like when I stopped competing, I was like, man, I'm never gonna run again. I'm never gonna sit in the sauna again. And then I was like ordering like pizzas and stuff, like just like literally, and I wasn't active, and I was just fell into a little trap of comfort eating almost, because I was like, I've not seen food before.
I deserve this.
Yeah, true.
But I felt horrible. As much as I enjoyed that, but I fell in that trap. Do you get what I mean? You fell in that trap, and that's why now I'm just a big believer. As soon as you get up, man, do something active. And look after your bodies, because by look after your bodies, naturally you feel
better,
healthier, ready to take the day on as a challenge. But going back to you guys, so obviously you're managing it the way you are managing everything, and the other businesses.
We've got some good people around us,
I was just about to say, you've got, like, looking on your social media pages, you guys have got an amazing, on both gyms, an amazing team lineup of coaches, and like that is, again, you've got a great pro team, probably the best in the country, right? One of the best in the country, and now you've got, on top of that, even a better coaching team, and again, probably one of the best in the countries. And how did that come about? Because
again, it's just people we've always been in touch, work with. They're all part of the gym. I believe in keeping good relations. The guys have always been good. I mean, I don't think enough credit goes out to people like Ams Clare and Simon Hammond. I'll be honest here, it ain't just me and Kaish, it's the whole gym. They all chip in. But without them two people, I don't think Fearless would be running as smoothly as it is. Paul Collins, who's a former kickboxing world champion and British boxing champion as well.
He's actually trained Brad Foster now. He's a pro.
Really?
Do you know Brad? Commonwealth and British champion. He's one of his coaches.
Oh wow!
So we're fortunate to have that kind of caliber of coaches, and again, it reflects on our fighters. They're able to get these high level coaches to correct them. We've got Bradley joining. Bradley Hill joined our team. Awesome. I've worked with Brad for many years. He's one of our head coaches.
Is he in your
in the headquarters? We're going to be using our coaches in both places because they're not too far apart. I mean, yourself, Brad is a phenomenal competitor and even better person, I'd say. We're good mates.
His jiu-jitsu is absolutely like. Wasn't he one of the first black belts? Not first black belts. Sorry.
Youngest?
The youngest. Sorry, the youngest.
I think the youngest was Mikhail. I'm sure.
Mikhail be teaching for us, wasn't it?
Well, we got Mikhail, black belt, teaching under us. Bradley and Choose joined the team as well.
Wow! So you got three black belts.
3 black belts under us. That's what
huge.
I think would be good for our competition. Well, for everyone really.
Absolutely.
For everyone, I know I'm going to be starting gi classes again. I've already spoken.
Serious?
yeah. I'm not a fan of it. I get wrapped up and I get frustrated. I'm used to the wrestling, not the singlet guys anymore, but I'm used to the just being free, no gi. I don't mind that, but it's something I've done a bit before, with Chew. Brad helps me here and there, with awareness.
Do you think you'll compete in jiu-jitsu?
I never say never. Brad is on my case about it, and he's planted a seed in my head.
Kaish, do you think he'll compete?
I think Kaish is a lot better than I am at jiu-jitsu.
I really enjoy jiu-jitsu. I really enjoy, but it's just like
not to that.
Yeah. Oh man. I remember.
I think it's safer to do than like getting back into like wrestling and I think it's easier on the body,
It's still tough, but not.
It's tough, no.
It's tough. It's still tough.
I'm not saying it's
no. But
not
not compared to like getting
when you're getting
thrown
and slammed.
suplex on your neck and like it's a bit different.
But it's awesome, man. It's all, and them coaches that you just mentioned.
That's
like you said, they're not only good coaches. They're good lads. They're good with people. You need
people skills.
People
Yes.
skills,
People
yeah.
skills. Yeah, no.
You need to be able to get it
I think I
across.
was saying this to you, Kaish. Like, you know, I'm similar to you. So, like, we're blessed to have people, great teams around us. But we've also been there on the this is at the moment a high, but we've also been there on the lows as well, where you've had people coach for you who necessarily don't have the great people skills, and unfortunately, due to that, members have to leave. Do you get what I mean? And unfortunately, effects which a lot of people won't see, or if you're listening, a lot of people won't see on the mats. But unfortunately, that's the downside of running a gym business, shall I say? Is you need the right people with the right skill set,
100%.
not necessarily technically, with the mind as well, that can talk to people and reassure people, because reassurance is so key.
Yes.
That a lot of people, I think, need, and then you got a certain percentage of people that need that tough love as well. Does that make sense? So
You got to find that balance.
Yeah, you need to find that happy medium balance, right? So
yeah, for sure.
no, absolutely.
I think we've got a good setup.
You got a great, you got a great setup.
Just to mention a few, like we got Nas Khan. He's a K1 European champion.
Yeah, heavyweight. Yeah,
heavyweight, big guy. You know, trains with
Chris Cooper.
So that kind of group.
Sorry,
Chris Cooper's former.
I don't know if you heard of it. I did a podcast with JD the other day, and we were talking about Chris Cooper.
Yeah.
Because am I right in saying he competed recently as well, or is he still competing? Or
he won his world title 2 years ago.
That's wow.
Yeah. He's still.
So he's been competing all those. That's incredible to see, because
a legend he is.
Chris is, and he's brilliant. I mean, we'll still spar.
How old? Like, how is he in his?
I think Chris is a year younger. He won't like me saying this, but I think Chris is 44.
That is.
But you couldn't tell.
Right, you couldn't tell. Yeah.
You know what? I really love about
and
that guy.
He's got a nice hairstyle as well.
Yeah. Better than mine.
It's close to it.
But you know that guy. Well, before lockdown, obviously, but we'll still weekly spar, and even though he's heavyweight, this guy will.
Oh man,
he's so controlled. You learn so much sparring.
I remember sparring with him about 10 years ago at Kenyon Street. Like, I was thinking, I remember looking up at him thinking, oh, I'm gonna get knocked out here. And like he went for a jab and he like went ting, and I was like, oh
yeah, he's
I was like, okay, all right. And then he went for a cross, and I knew it. You could see it was like one of those, those moments where you're gonna get spot, and it's coming at you, and it's like ding. I was like,
yeah.
Okay, he's
True.
do you know what I mean? And he's like so respectful in that sense. He won't ever take advantage of his power. And he'll fuck you up basically.
I've seen the other side of him as well. I've seen him put people in their place as well.
Yeah, I remember. I think it used to be a few Monday nights, a few Wednesday nights, and this used to be a time when like Mark was traveling a lot. Mark Haddad, when he's traveling a lot. Obviously, he still travels a lot now, but but like
I don't know how he does that.
Yeah,
we're just saying
it's crazy. But I remember seeing some of the times like when them two used to put their gloves on, Chris and Mark. Did you like sometimes? I remember the whole gym just
stop.
We used to stand there and watch at the times, man. It was like some great.
Because Mark had I think we had just finished competing as well then.
Yeah.
So we had that Saturday morning that you talked about, Pindi. It was the caliber on the mat was unreal.
Wow, it was great, man. And I had Scott here the other day. Remember Scott Sawyers and like.
Oh, was Scott here?
Seeing him Saturday,
yeah. Shout out Scott Swench.
Yeah, Swench.
But I remember like chatting, like, because guys and the listeners out there, you some of my guests, well, majority of my guests I've had on my podcast, and we always keep referring back to Fearless MMA. We've got the fathers of Fearless MMA here, because like the guests I've had, like I'm gonna be getting Dave on soon as well, but like JD, Scott, like I think I was on the phone to you, Cam, the other night, and I was saying, and he clicked to me there. We all started together. Do you get what I mean? It's crazy. Like obviously you guys are always there, but like in the sense we all met at Fearless. And then from Fearless, we've all branched off and done our own things. Like Scott's doing an amazing thing with his online coaching, his bodybuilding, what he's achieved in the space outside of MMA is like absolutely unbelievable. JD's done the same thing in terms of like going on to his CrossFit, his zoo training, and now starting off Stay Ready training. Dave Hill, like starting his own business with his graphic design and stuff, and seeing these people, like we were all head cases trying to compete in MMA, but now branching up doing our own thing. It's so beautiful to see, and the fact that we can all reconnect, and I think that's so
for sure.
It's so
You're right,
good.
Pindi, there,
I think that's
the best part of Fearless,
Yeah,
it's a real great middle ground. There's a lot of relationships that have been built in this place,
100%,
and have lasted forever.
Literally, and
it's more to Fearless than there is on just competing on the mats. we've got good friends and, you know, lifelong friends, you know, so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that, you know, even like starting at K-Star and, you know, like you said earlier, we're still mates and see these guys. We normally meet up every year.
Oh, wow.
As much as we can. But there's a group of us on WhatsApp and, you know, Damien, Yogi, we're all still mates. Like, and that's, so like you said, you know, gone through you've done a lot with these guys. You know, you've won fights, you've lost, you've bled, you cried, you know, everything. And you know each other really, really well, like, you know, but then now we're all a little bit older, we're all running our businesses and, you know, it's just good to have that, you know, that lifelong friends.
100%. And I know in other fields, you'll always get close, but there's nothing closer than when someone's punching you in the face, leading on arm.
Yeah, true.
You've shared blood, sweat, and tears with these individuals, and I think that's the connection that brings all of us back together again. Because there's been times, and I'm proud to, like, not proud to say it, but I'm not ashamed to say it at the same time. But there's been times when we would be sparring on some Saturday morning sessions, some weekdays when I used to come at Fearless MMA. And I'll be cutting weight, and the emotions are there, and I'm getting smothered by some of the guys. I remember getting taken down by Omar at the time, and bearing in mind I used to fight at lightweight, which is 70 kilos. So when I'm training, I was about 77, 76 kilos. Omar at the time was about 47, 50 kilos, right? So there's me thinking, don't worry, I'll take it easy with this guy, right? Or this kid, shall I say, at the time. And getting like taken down, getting a fireman's like takedown from him was like, I remember running to the change room, having a little cry, like, you know, I'm a week away from my fight, and it's like, you know, having a bit of a raging moment, and then getting back into it. But
I remember when you were Pindi, you were getting ready for your Bama debut. Huge show that was then back in when you fought.
That was a scary show, like, as in scary in a good way. I remember you boys being there with me, by my side, walking out. But I don't know if you remember this, but I recall this moment ever so. When I got announced and when we had to walk through the curtain at the NIA, and in my head, I was just thought, am I? I fought at the weird thing is I fought at NIA before, but as a Thai, never in MMA. So I remember walking out, and I remember just when I fought there for Thai, I was earlier on the show, but because I was slightly later, I was on the later card of Bama. I remember walking out, and I remember seeing like the crowd like rammed from like
they're looking over the balconies, and
I was thinking, I can't.
It's quite overwhelming.
I can't walk back now. I can't walk back. Do you get what I mean? And I think that's shown in the fight. If anyone watches that fight, it's so embarrassing. Then you guys come to me. I remember you slapping me up in the corner saying, "Sort yourself out."
You had a bad first round.
The first round, I couldn't, even though he's elbowing me in the head, like ground and pound, I still wasn't awake in that fight. I don't know where that first round went.
But I think the emotions got the better of you.
100%.
But you turned it around.
You did.
Yeah, turned it around. Thanks, you boys.
The W in it.
Thanks to them slaps.
100%. But no, we had some great turns. And talking of the NIA, I remember one of your fighters, Raj. And this is going back in 2010.
Raj Salan, man.
I'm going to go slightly off track, but in 2010, I remember like this is around the time you got Kenyan Street as well, wasn't it?
We just started.
And some of the promo videos for Raj's fight against Sonny. And
they were quite good in it.
They were amazing. Like, I know, like, obviously, and even just the fight build-up, that was insane. And I think thanks to like Raj as well and what he did, I know it was a big show. MSA shows were brilliant back then. But like
Dan Green's, weren't they?
Dan Green, Dan Green. They were brilliant. Master Skin and Dan Green, great shows they were. And it's such a big shows for Thai.
To get on the NIA.
And I think that from a Muay Thai point of view, not saying it wasn't, but for 2010 with the promo videos, the fight build up, Fearless, it got Fearless on the map. It started the journey from that.
Fight because obviously Raj is a competitor for us for many years and a good friend. But Sonny's one of my good friends. We've grown up together as kids. So I wasn't too keen on this thing happening.
Were you in the corner?
I was.
You was. I know. I remember seeing you in the corner. I was on that same.
I was in the corner, but it was not nice for me to be there.
I can imagine.
I didn't know. I was against this with both of them, and I had to sit down with both of them. Yeah, I said I don't want this fight to happen, you know, because Sonny being a good friend of mine, growing up since we were kids.
Both hands up lads.
Both local, like they're like what? Couple of streets away from each other. And they've trained together as kids, you know. I don't know what happened between them. It's resolved now. Obviously, we've moved on. And I think that got the air out, you know. That just Got it out.
Good old-fashioned way, man.
Yeah.
Have a straightner.
Sort out with your fist, 100%.
Man to man, have a straightner.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Win, lose, or draw down that, isn't it?
It's nice. I mean, I'm still in touch with both of them, like regularly.
Is Raj still?
Yeah, he's still trained.
He still trains, yeah.
Because I see him on social.
He's just become a father now, so.
Congratulations, Raj.
Yeah,
Well,
man.
that's
And Raj still teaches for us as well.
Yeah,
So-
because Raj went from I'm right in saying was that a K1 fight back in MSA? Was that K1?
That was a Thai fight.
Was it Thai?
Yeah, I don't remember now.
Then
It's a Thai fight,
Raj went on to fight MMA because I remember him.
Yes.
I saw some clips of him fighting in India as well for
SFL.
which one?
SFL.
SFL. Yeah. He fought on.
It's
He
weird
did well
because
in MMA as well.
yeah, it was weird because like it was 2010, and then me and Raj went over to India. I actually got signed with the SFL around that time as well. It was just a new organisation that was starting up, and I thought we'll have a go at MMA. But anyway, Raj went over there. Me and him went to Mumbai in 2011, I think it was 12, and he had a brilliant fight, man. It was crazy to fight in India in the middle of Mumbai.
What was that experience like, man?
It's crazy because like you're in the middle of like, Mumbai I can never forget. You're in the middle of like 1 minute you like got a beautiful 5-star hotel where we were staying like at the Hilton. Then you walk out about 10, 15 meters and you see a shanty town. It was just unreal. But the actual event where the SFL was held, it was like in the middle of nowhere, really run down building. And I'll never forget the building, right? You don't want to walk up the steps. There's like 5 floors, and one step was like that big. The other one was, and it looked scary. Then they're like going the lift. I was like, fuck, I ain't getting in that lift. Bro. You're never fucking coming out. Forget that. So me and Raj got up these stairs, and like every floor we're going to, it's mad because people are begging and stuff. Anyway, I was like, somebody's setting us up here, man. This is somewhere else. We're getting done here. Dude, we got to the 5th floor, and there's massive screens, like digital screens, like top technology.
Wow.
They're open, and there's a cage in the middle, and it was just like, wow, is this the same place? India's a crazy place, man. They've got some mad things there. But we were really well looked after there, man. It was a good show. And then, because Mark had been up there a year before, he had refereed up there. He said this show's going to be big.
Whatever happened to SFL? Is it still around? Is it not?
I've heard they're trying to revamp it. I've heard they've got some new. I don't know how true that is, but
I was called up. When was that? Last year?
You were called up to coach for him,
2-3 years ago, I think it was now.
Yeah.
About 2 years, 3 years ago. They have like a league thing going on, where like it'll be Mumbai against Punjab, or they have like these fight teams, and I was offered a position to coach for I think it was a Mumbai team.
Oh wow!
So I think Kaish Gill was up there at the time. He had the Punjab team. So I had this offer, and I thought it was I'll take the opportunity if it was worth my while, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for a lot, but just to cover my costs,
Of course.
It didn't work out in the end. I know they're trying, and it just didn't work out for me at that time.
Because
I don't
talking
want
of
to
that,
or anything. I'm trying my best to hold back. No. It just didn't work.
Yeah, no, fair enough. But talking of that, you've been like recently as well, but obviously it's for a while now. But you've been getting asked to coach here, there, and everywhere. But probably I'd say the nicest ones is Phuket. Phuket top team, is it?
It was Phuket top team. Yeah, I did. I did 2 years on the trot. I think 3 years.
Yeah,
awesome,
a few sessions there, here and there. Because a good friend of ours, one of my students as well, Vaughan Lee, again, UFC veteran,
legend, Vaughan.
Legend.
Doesn't age. That guy never ages.
Ages.
He gets younger by the year. It's weird, man.
He does, yeah. Actually, no,
Watch him spar, he's still sharp.
Oh,
Isn't he?
Yeah. It's crazy.
So he invited us over, and we did a few sessions. It's a lovely place. The weather's nice, and we had a good time. And the place was it's paradise, really, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
If that's the ideal to want to for having a gym and teaching, is probably the ideal place for me.
You think you'll ever pack up and head down there with the family?
I
coach
mean,
there for real. No pressure, Kaish.
I leave the rest to him.
That was a good year. We went up. Kamby was coaching at Phuket top team, and we kind of mixed in stop over in Dubai, watched the Khabib fight. Khabib fought Poirier.
Yeah.
Brilliant, man.
That was nice. We got some really nice family friends in Dubai. Well, Abu Dhabi they live in.
Abu Dhabi.
So we visit them when we pop over, and they look after us really well. They're nice people. Yeah. So we get to see our friends and.
That was something in the pipeline as we were thinking as well.
Well,
we had an opportunity to open a gym in Dubai. We were thinking about it.
It's still in the pipeline for me, if I'm honest. Yeah.
But if you do go ahead with that, how is that going to work in terms of you guys? One of you's having to go, or both?
I'll be in Dubai. I mean, we've got.
There's a lot of people that have gone out there.
Yeah.
Have you like? There's a
Tam
lot
Khan,
of
Tam Khan's a good friend of ours. We went to visit Tam. Tam's place is doing TK MMA.
Brilliant place.
I think most of you in the MMA world will know about it. You know, he's doing a phenomenal job out there. You know, so shout out to Tom. Tam, sorry, not Tom. But we did have an opportunity. It's still something I would. It wouldn't be Dubai. It'd probably be in Abu Dhabi if we did decide. But again, it's a big step taking the kids and. You know, moving over there.
I think holiday's one thing, and then going
actually doing it for real to live there is on another. Yeah, and just like I'm gonna revert back now, but like obviously just gonna revert back because you just reminded me. You're talking about Kaish Gill.
Yeah, man.
And
Legend
you
Kaish.
guys growing up in hands, obviously being in hands and everything. You're not in the same era because when he was competing,
before us,
was it just
slightly before us?
Slightly before, wasn't it?
I remember going to watch his fights. I remember going to watch him. Kaish a massive inspiration.
Massive, especially for the Asian community, like from our
he did, yeah.
Like I remember being a kid and seeing him on. Remember the magazines, the front covers of the magazines.
Yeah.
Combat
magazines.
Yeah. I was like, wow.
Mate, he's a legend.
Wearing the toy shorts, like
and
he's still doing it, and he's still out there.
He put it on the map, really.
Yeah,
you know? Credit goes to him, you know.
Massive.
He's.
But he when I remember going to watch his fights and thinking, wow, this is awesome, man. Like you know, because we were saying earlier, we grew up in the middle of Handsworth, and I remember it was a crazy place, but when you're living in there, you don't see it, you know.
100%.
I was about 9 years old, and when the 1985 riots happened.
Oh, man.
And we just lived off Rookery Road then, and hearing all this noise go off. My brothers have gone up to the top of the road. I've gone up, like I'm only 8 or 9, and seeing these bins get set on fire, petrol bombs flying through the local shops that we used to shop at. I was like, fuck, what's going on here? And then we saw another riot as well, but like, that's why people like Handsworth and Old Aston, you know, these are the ghetto areas. But like, when you're living in there, it's pretty normal. Like, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, there were tough upbringings, man. But like, you know, our parents, bless them, like, you know, we never knew we went without anything. Do you know what I mean?
Of course. So, of course, yeah, no, fair play. That's awesome, man.
But tough areas, but like, you know, we're grateful for it.
It was a tough upbringing. Yeah, and we crossed a lot of things, you know. Where I think a lot of the kids now it is a horrible thing, you know, fights, and I've had knives pulled out on me and all sorts of stuff, you know. It's just the area we lived in, but at the time you just didn't think anything of it, you know.
Norm.
Yeah. I've had people try and mug me, you know. It's not worked out well.
I was about to say. Oh man,
you know, I'm being honest. You know, we've had a few confrontations in the area we lived in, but I just. At the time, you just don't think...
Came with the territory, as you say, innit?
Yeah. And you just don't think that, you know, you just think it's normal until you're out and you're traveling to other places and, you know, and it's not like that, you know, so...
Hence the reason why we're massive on kids and martial arts. Like, you know, we're grateful, man. We've got hundreds of kids at Fearless.
I love seeing
it's
it, man.
Awesome, man. And I've got a shout out to all our instructors. We've got a massive junior team. Simon leads all these instructors, and they do a brilliant job because the kids are the future.
Hans Verk, you know, he does our filming. Dimitris does our filming.
But you know, these guys, they teach the kids, and like, if anything, it just gives you a balance of, you know, things can happen on the street. You got to be prepared. You got to be, even sometimes have to walk away from situations, you know.
Oh, for sure.
Sometimes that's the toughest thing, isn't it? But you got this is why martial arts plays such a big part in everything.
Because I think people sometimes think like, all right, you got the kids in there, they do an hour training camp, but there's mentoring behind it. You know, you're talking to the kids and bullying, and you know, we try and touch on subjects weekly. Like,
I personally think that sport, especially martial arts, all sports really, is the best pathway for this.
100%.
You know, I mean, Leon Edwards and Darren Till, there's another fighter. Oh, man. They're doing like a campaign against knife crime, you know, to prevent knife crime. And
I did hear that on Joe Rogan's podcast.
And I think using them sort of that level.
Role models doing that.
Yeah, that's what we need, you know.
Yes,
it's so important.
Because we're in a generation now, and as probably as hurtful it is for me to admit, but like we grew up around martial arts. We grew up seeing people, the likes of Bruce Lee, Enter the Dragon film on TV, Jackie Chan and stuff. But and martial arts is still there, and it will always be there. But it's kind of like evolved into like more of a sport, and it's a combat sport.
Combat sport now,
UFC, MMA, one FC with Muay Thai. It is a sport at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So we're bringing the next generation into this, but we're applying the martial arts discipline in, and I think that's so important to apply the firmness that we got as martial artists, but still apply it within these combat sports that we're doing.
Yes.
And touching upon, like you were explaining just now, saying that you're on a weekly basis, you're picking a topic, obviously for the juniors and for the next generation. Like we were discussing earlier, there have been a lot of highs in your years throughout coaching as well as competing.
Yeah.
But on a same wavelength, there's also been a lot of lows as well. And I forgive me for bringing it up, but one of the lows, unfortunately, that the nation, I think, the MMA nation that got hit by it was when Jet unfortunately passed
away.
Passed away. And I don't want to obviously like bring it up and bring bad negative memories into it, but I think the important part of it is bringing the awareness and making everyone aware that we are all here. Yes, we may be busy, but we're all here to talk to, because
100%.
that was down to a lot of like not opening up. Is that right? And it's important that we teach our juniors and the next generation to open up, and it's important to communicate and talk.
Yes,
and
for sure.
we're never too far away. Like we're blessed to be in an era of the digital era of social media, of WhatsApp, telephones, and not a lot of people like to pick up the phone anymore. So it's a little bad message.
Yeah, that's true.
So where do you guys touch upon that? Like, what advice would you give out there to the listeners in that?
Yeah,
sense?
it's a funny one. I mean,
because you were very close.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think if Jet was still was with us now, he'd be one of the guys that would be part of. And he's somebody.
Sure, man.
He's younger than me. He's my little bro, but I look up to him, and I always have. So I think again the gym coaches are a big, because you can't always talk to your parents,
Yeah,
and you can't always talk to your partner,
Yeah.
But there's a middle ground at the gym, at any gym or any coach or whatever sport you're in.
Yes.
It's a neutral person, who can look at it from the outside. I think it's just cherish your coaches, man. Talk to them, and they're not just coaches on the mat, But I think we deal with all sorts outside, more probably outside of the mat. We deal with,
I can imagine.
So I think speak to your coaches. Use your coaches as they're there for you, So I think it's important.
I agree with what about yourself? You got anything to touch on that case?
Yeah, I mean, same as what Kamby saying, really. Like, don't be afraid to open up, and
because that's one thing I'd have to say.
Men struggle with that, don't they?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to touch upon, because unfortunately, like we grew up in an era where men had to. We were, but like men would never like to open up. We have to keep our feelings kept in, and blah blah blah, and all this, and it's important now. We're in an era of digital era and all this, and just talk it out, man. Just talk it out.
Yeah.
If there's anything that anyone out there is struggling with, just hit us up, drop us a message.
Yeah.
And we'll try and help as best as we can, for 100%. But linked with that, that's something that was a bit of a. When I first started coaching properly, and I was like, wow. It's not just what you do on the mats, it's what you do off the mats. And you guys are good examples of that, because you do a lot of stuff off the mats. Like just very recently, Cam, like yourself, you've spent 2 and a bit weeks in Vegas with Leon, and doing the stuff on the road, and it is demanding, obviously, on you physically as well as psychologically. But that's what you do for your fight. That's what you do, not only for he is your fight, but you do that for everyone in general. But as a coach's point of view, you have to be there on the mats, but you have to be there more so off the mats for them, and your phone has to be on for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's true. I think the coaching role, from the outlook, people tend to narrow it down to, he's a great coach. He's teaching wrestling, or he's teaching Thai boxing, or he's good at jiu-jitsu. But again, you know, behind closed doors, there's a lot. There's a lot that goes on.
100%.
There's a lot that's involved, and I think coaches need to. I'm not saying it because of us, you know. I'm happy because me and Kaish are the kind of guys who stay off the.
Yeah.
This is the first podcast we've done. I think I've had about 10 messages, and I promised Pindi I'll do it.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
And we've always been out of the kind of the limelight, you know.
I don't think we've been so loud on the social media.
Yeah, you still ain't like.
You know, I've only been around this guy. I've seen how these things blown up, and people, the youngsters at the gym, I'm working. I was like, Coach, social media's way forward. I was like, I'm too old for that. Yeah. Josh and all Jake and that, they laugh at me because I'm like, because Jake had walked into the gym a couple of weeks ago, and he's walking in like this as he does. And I was like, because I got two blue ticks, and I was just like, I don't know what he's on about. I was thinking,
he's got
a blue tick.
Oh, he's verified.
But in my head, I'm thinking, why is he so happy that somebody's? I thought WhatsApp 2 blue ticks. I think why is he so happy somebody's checked his message? This is how daft I am with social media. I ain't got a clue. Then I was like, dude, what does that mean? And he's like, I got a blue tick on Instagram. Don't you know what I mean? I was like, I ain't got a fucking clue. But this is, you know what I mean?
It's massive.
It's a
massive thing.
I've seen it. His phone's just going mad 24/7.
It's going mad, but like this is what I was saying about Manny. Like he's telling me to get TikTok and how important TikTok is nowadays. And
really? Sorry, I can't.
Oh yeah. But legit, TikTok is huge now, and it's getting big. It's bigger than Instagram now, and it's like the next. Like I'm seeing and I'm talking the next generation. I'm talking people like that.
You're gonna be doing the silhouette challenge.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Man, you watch. But it's
so
huge,
you know silhouette challenge.
But it's huge. That's like I remember back in the day when it was just Facebook, and then it went to Twitter, and now then Instagram's taking it, and now then it was Snapchat, and now it's just constant. You have to evolve with the times, and you have to stay on top of it, man.
Yeah. That's why I'm a bit stuck in the mud with that
I ain't the best at it, I'll be honest. I'm getting better.
100%.
Getting better. I was in when I was in Vegas. My good friend Adam Kiani, a shout out to him, PT Academy.
Okay,
good lad, Adam.
He'd sent me like a call on Instagram, and I thought, oh, he's just probably wants to FaceTime me.
Yeah,
I've never done it before, and I accepted it. And he goes, "Whoa, Cam, you've answered the phone. I didn't expect that." And I was like, Yeah. Why wouldn't I answer your call? How are you? And then next minute, his hearts are popping up in the corner, and I'm thinking,
what's going on?
Even today, I tried to put a video up, and I did it all wrong. It's not even on my social media at the moment. But yeah, and he was like having this conversation, and there's loads of people commenting. And I'm like,
wow.
So I had to put this like,
yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It caught me off guard, but I'll be doing more with him for sure.
No, that's awesome.
I think he's the one who broke the ice for it a little bit. Got a bit more confident on it, and I thought,
yeah, fair play. No, look, I think it's great because I think I just got everyone what we've experienced in the last 10, 12 years. I think I can't wait for everyone else to experience that. And I know you guys have done your stuff on your Fearless MMA page, and you're always on top of that and stuff like that. But it's good to see, for the world to get to know you as Coach Kamby and you as Coach Kaish. And I think it'd be so good for everyone else to see, and especially now that you're going back and forth to Vegas with Leon, and obviously you got people like Fabian and Jake on Bellator and Cage Warriors as well. Do you get what I mean? And it's so good to see the fact that
it's awesome,
Fearless has always been on the map, but on the mainstream now it's getting bigger and bigger and more popular, and with all the teammates that are on that map with the pro fighters, I can't.
Thank you.
You guys are just gonna go, and it's so exciting. It's so exciting to see, and honestly, it's so good to see.
Regardless of where it takes us, we'll continue to do what we're doing.
Yeah,
always.
How big or how small.
It's like you said earlier. You don't look at it as work. You're passionate about it.
Love it. Yeah.
When you see these guys develop,
I mean,
it's
this
awesome.
COVID time's been difficult.
Yeah.
I'm missing my team. I'm missing
the kids,
especially the kids. I think Fearless isn't just me and you, Kaish. We've always said this. Fearless is everyone, all of our gym.
The coaches.
I'd be here all day if I had to name people.
Of course, that's
the parents who bring their kids in. You support it, and become what it has. And doesn't matter how big our gym gets and how many floating cages we have. It's always going to be the same place, you know. And we don't want to come away from that.
Of course.
Yeah, it looks very commercial in what we've done, but the aim is to keep it that family gym and have that same vibe going, you know. It's the atmosphere at Fearless, you know yourself, and the same here at Warriors, you know.
Yeah,
it's
that
same.
welcoming.
You know what I mean?
I
love it. That's why it
can't
used to
beat
be like Fearless for me. It's 20 minutes up the road.
Yeah.
Train when we used to train an hour and a half, 2 hours,
yeah.
whatever it used to be, but 5 hours later I'll be coming home and it'd be like, where you?
Like, where's time gone?
And it's like after we train our asses off, we'd be sweating buckets, but we'll just have a great fucking laugh afterwards. There was a time I'm pretty sure this was the time I was training for the Bama fight,
right.
and this is when, because obviously when I used to train a lot back then with Omar, was one of my main wrestling partners. When we used to do a lot of one-on-one stuff. Yeah. And I think Omar didn't turn up, and me and you were wrestling in the cage, and then by accident you'd come up and your head's like gone, and I've had to get better.
Oh,
and
you had stitches in
I had to get stitches, and I'm thinking,
huh? Did I stitch him?
Yeah, basically.
Part of that.
Yeah. Kamby has done some
homemade stitches.
Yeah, he's done some fucked up things in the gym. Yeah, we've got some stories, but
You're not allowed to mention.
Not all of it, not all of it.
Joking.
But there's been times like that was an example. That was what 4 weeks out of Bama. I'm thinking, oh man, I can't put I was thinking, what if it opens up again and there's me dripping on the mat, and then it wasn't me. I think someone else was wrestling. Their little fingers gone, and then you've like, come here, put it back in, and it's like, damn man.
I've got plenty of experience.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Someone's ears gone. Don't worry, I'll drain it out. It's just like
I think that's just wrestling, you know.
Yeah,
it's just how we've been brought up in wrestling, the grind and.
It's tough, man.
It's a different.
All the sports that we've chosen, it's just crazy, isn't it? There's a lot of solid sportsmen, like battering on your body. And as much as it's an individual sport, Muay Thai, wrestling, MMA, you're nothing without your partners.
Yeah,
you're nothing without your coaches.
100%.
Coaches like my coach Steve Logan, always respect him. Yeah, for Thai boxing.
Yes.
Grappling, we've had Mark Goddard and my coach in Thailand, Shuki, all these guys, but nothing without them. And obviously we started off by mentioning my father, but Kamby's wrestling coaches, Jim's 90 now.
Yeah.
Man's still on fire, Graham, all these guys.
Graham Wild was probably one of the nicest people, a phenomenal coach, He's not on social media, so he wouldn't see this, But I think his son is Danny, good friend of mine. But I was saying to Kaish, we talk about it sometimes, like as a role model. I mean, that guy was phenomenal, and Jim. I was very close to them both. I remember competing at a tournament, and that story's mad, isn't it? Graham was getting on a bit then.
Oh yeah.
And his son got injured, and Graham took his place. And I mean, Graham's he's getting on a bit now. He's had 2 hip replacements, bless him. But he took the tournament on and he literally stormed it. He wouldn't say it because he's very modest, but honestly, witnessing that was just, I thought, man, I want to be like this guy. Everything, my wrestling style and the way I move and the techniques I use. Honestly, it's like the spit of Coach Graham. It's the same. Because he was a shorter guy. And he was, mate. The way he moved on the mat was unreal. So thanks to people like them,
Tony as well.
Tony, sadly passed away, but from Poland, Tony was a great coach, from when we were very young. But we talk about sports and martial arts in the UK. It's people like Mark Goddard and to name a few,
Put the sport on the
I think, touching on that, it's people like Mark that have put not only mixed martial arts as a sport in the UK on the map, but the safety aspect of it. Because I don't know if you guys have been around that era where not everyone knew not everyone knew the term MMA, right?
Yeah.
They all classed it as cage fighting or
I do UFC.
Yeah, I'm a UFC fighter. Yeah, I'm a UFC fighter. But not everyone understood the terms of MMA. And if you ask the average person, oh, we're now doing mixed martial arts classes, or we're doing these classes, and they wouldn't ever feel safe with dropping if it was their kids or anything. And because the world saw two men jumping in the cage doors locking, boom, and find it out almost. So kind of like a street fight. And I know in the US they did a lot, but it was Mark, if you, in what would you say, 2008, 9, 10, that sort of era, or maybe even before, like, I was really stressing it out about the safety aspect of it, putting everything in place. And I think he doesn't get enough credit for it. Do you know what I mean? Credit where credit's due. Like, if it wasn't for Mark, like, really emphasizing on that, I don't think UK MMA will be where it is right now, in my opinion.
100%.
I agree.
He's put Mark's put a lot of hours into this. And
100%.
And even to see him, like, we trained together. We used to train at F's together, with Pete Refford and all. But then doing amateur shows and coaching, refereeing on the smaller shows, and,
to now where he is.
Again, Mark's an awesome coach, man.
Yeah,
he's
a good friend.
He's a tough coach.
And a good friend.
He's a tough coach.
Tough.
He's phenomenal. Yeah, and he's a good friend of ours, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think a lot of the time is when we are out together, it's trying to be away from
the sport
too much, you know.
We
do get, obviously, because it's what we do. We get roped into it, but
of course,
it's just about family life in general. We normally have a bite to eat every so often. We get
have a beer, chill out.
Why not? That's what you need to do, isn't it?
Good lad.
No, that's awesome, man. It's so good to see. But guys, with yourselves, obviously, we know where things are going with the gyms and everything. It's going well. Is there any plans for the future? I know you mentioned slightly Abu Dhabi, but is there anything that obviously more happening in the UK wise? Can we see more Fearlesses out there outside of Birmingham?
Yeah, for sure. I'm putting together an affiliation program to myself, adapting my wrestling into mixed martial arts. So far, it's been okay. It's done quite well, I don't like to use
more than well, man. You're training the best fighters in the UFC with it. So do you know what I mean? Of course, it's done amazing. It's done absolutely huge.
And I feel like I could share this. Like same with TMA. We can have this here. I think this is what we need.
Absolutely.
Some of the gyms are missing a bit of wrestling
especially
because of the lack of push we've had in this country for it,
But that explains why you're getting in Birmingham people traveling to you from all around the UK to come and train with you. Like when I know it's been a while, like it's been a few weeks since I've been there, but you had the guys travel from Inverness, Scotland, to come and train with
Ross
you.
Houston.
Tomorrow, actually.
There you go. So
if you're watching,
Inverness, Scotland to Birmingham, you don't see that very often. Do you get what I mean? And I know I was having we were saying this, saying it with JD and a few of the other guys as well who I've had on the podcast. But like when we were competing, it was different because we were working at the time, because we weren't there was no such thing as sponsorships back then, apart from supplement companies that would give you a free shake here and there. And there was you weren't really getting like paid properly. Did you go like compared to what you're getting paid? What you're getting paid now. So we'd had to work, but not only that, we were traveling from Coventry to place like Fearless MMA for our wrestling, or like going to like here, there, and everywhere to do our other training. But you're still getting that. Bearing in mind, the money's now good in fighting on the bigger leagues and stuff. Sponsorships are a lot more better now, and it just goes to show the credit to you guys for what you guys have developed as Fearless MMA in Birmingham, while you're getting people from Scotland, up north, down south, coming to his house to wrestle and to train for their mixed martial arts. Do you get what I mean? So
I think over the last year, like I've had competitors in the Commonwealth Games and national champions and international wrestlers and under myself, but I've now started. Well, say now, it's been probably the best part of 8 to 10 years. Is adapting it towards mixed martial arts and using the techniques that are effective in mixed martial arts, because a lot of some of the techniques you're going to have to kind of put aside. They're not going to be as effective. So it's just making that change.
And linked with this affiliation for outside of Birmingham? I know you're saying it's going to be linked to your wrestling for mixed martial arts as well. Is there going to be the Thai element in there as well, or is it going to purely be focusing on wrestling?
Because we've always worked together.
Yeah, of course.
Not only training but coaching as well. You know.
Yeah.
We've always shared the corner, make sure our game plan is correct, and my game plan stems off Kaish. You know, it might be off a strike or a position, so. It's a big aspect that Kaish
100% mixes. It's like Kamby said, like with wrestling, there's going to be certain things that don't work in MMA, and it's the same with striking.
Yeah,
you know, Pindi, with the Thai rules. Yeah, you know, it's like a chess game, but 100%. Obviously the stand-up stance, you can't be up too upright in MMA. So you know, we tweak it, and like even when we're cornering, we've got a nice way of cornering. If it's
I love cornering with this guy. Yeah. It's awesome.
We got you know we kind of
you work off each other. It's great, 100%. I've been you've been in my corner, so I get it.
Striking,
you know what I mean?
You know, it's me. But the minute it gets into a grapple, I shut up. I just stay quiet, and then and it works well. You know, rather than you can't have the corner shouting. It's the worst thing for the fighter.
It's very. I think it's been a long time of.
It takes years.
Get that experience, you know.
100%.
I remember when. I first feel like Ibby fought, I was like, wow, it's going mad, you know. You can't have
the fight where Ibby did like 3 suplexes in the first round. Oh my god, that was insane.
We've seen a decade of fights, you know, longer. Ibby's fight was still, if you're watching Ibby, I'm not just saying it. Man, it's probably one of the best fights I've seen.
That is the best. Yeah. And talking of that, Manny, you filmed that fight. That was Manny filmed that fight. It's Manny's production that did
No
that.
way.
Really? Yeah. Manny filmed that.
Manny. That's
yeah. Manny was there filming that fight. He's got pictures of it. So I was like, because I just heard the plays. Like I was just in my zone trying to get in, and I heard the room going raw.
You know, we got a bit of stick for that. You know,
why?
He's quite young. Ibby was a kid.
Yeah.
He walked in this baby face.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
cauliflower.
Really innocent looking, you know, or except for the years.
Yeah.
And people like, I remember people saying, I heard like, oh
he's
my
a
God,
kid.
he's a kid.
He's a kid.
And his opponent looked like a 30-year-old man with like
solid. He was a tough lad as well.
Brilliant fighter. Fighter. And then it started off, and Ibby's doing all this stuff, and everyone's just like, oh shit, this kid's, you know, he's good.
I remember, you know, when you're padding a fighter just before I'm padding this kid, and I'm like, all right, head kick, and he's like, coach, I can't head kick, I'm stiff a bit. I was like,
no way.
Got a fucking stretch then. And he couldn't do a head kick, Ibby, like, because he's wrestling so much. Yeah. Anyway, how does he finish the fight? Left head kick, knockout.
Not like mad.
I thought you could head kick.
Head kick, wasn't it?
But that's like adrenaline going for him and everything. That was. You guys have trained amazing fighters,
Respect, Pindi, man.
But for me, that was my favorite, one of your favorite fighters and fight I've ever seen. I was like, wow, that was incredible. So entertaining. Do you get what I mean?
And he's a lovely kid as well, Ibby.
Yeah.
Lovely kid.
He's done really well for himself, hasn't he?
Yeah.
What's he doing with himself nowadays?
He's a nurse now. He's in the hospital.
Really?
Yeah, but huge achievement, you know.
Yeah. Put some years in the study, didn't he? So.
No, considering you were saying back from the hurt where he was like a not troubled kid, but a misbehaved.
Yeah.
That it goes to show the discipline of martial arts.
Oh, for sure.
The discipline of martial arts. Look where he is now.
100%.
Yeah. On the front line. On the front line, isn't he? On the NHS.
Same with Luke Greenshields. Luke.
Yeah,
boy.
Yeah. Luke's a naughty boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's running his own business now. He's what's his
Ronin Barbers.
Ronin Barbers. He's got his own business.
Oh,
you know?
fair play.
We take our little ones. He does their hair and. He's doing really well, Luke, is man.
Oh, that's really.
And he went into professional bodybuilding as well, didn't he?
Did he? What after Thai?
After Thai, yeah.
How long? Because when did he last have his? It was recently. Because he.
I don't
know the date.
I can't remember when his last fight was.
Because like Luke was a fighter that was
great fighter.
He got to the top level, but he just should have carried on. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, shout out to Luke, man. Like, I admired watching you guys. Like, you guys, like, I was there when you guys were training him, and then seeing him obviously fight on the big shows as well. And it's so good to see. But
we sometimes get fighters and we fight over and between ourselves. I'm like, leave this guy with me, you know. I could turn him into a good wrestler.
Serious?
Yeah, we have that. And he's like, nah. He's have you seen him Thai box? He's really good. And it's crazy. Well, he ended up taking Luke, and I ended up taking Ibby for him.
Yeah.
But we still cross train, you know.
I remember chatting to Liam at Badco, and Luke had really good wrestling. still.
He
Like,
wrestled? Yeah.
he wrestled because
Mate, that guy could have wrestled.
because they were saying that up in Leeds
good Thai.
but yeah, his
Good
clinch was like they were saying clinch solid and
Really
that,
good.
Again, he did wrestle. He did do the classes. didn't
Yeah. Tough kids, man. Tough
he?
kids.
We've had good fun in that.
It's great times, man. It's awesome to see, man. Guys, I could be here for hours and hours and hours chatting away, guys. Yeah, and I absolutely love the time and the listeners out there. I hope you've enjoyed hearing the inspirational stories from both these guys, from how they started in a martial arts era to now develop and be on the big leagues. But just before we do finish it, obviously you've got, like, I keep referring back to like the fighters you're fighting now. Like you've recently just been in Vegas taking Leon to fight. Obviously last minute opponent with Bilal.
Yeah.
But now obviously just been announced he's got a huge fight lined up, and I'm guessing this is going to be for the number one contender spot, right?
Yeah, this is what we're hoping for, you know. Well, he's got a good
fight with Nate Diaz, very experienced.
Big name.
Massive name in the world of mixed martial arts and UFC. So obviously I know you're not allowed to give too much out in terms of game plans and everything, but how are you gonna approach this fight camp? Is the best way to say it.
I think like every other, you know. He's like any other fighter. He's I think honestly, Leon is a phenomenal fighter, and the way he soaks things up is very unique. You know, there's not many people I've come across.
Because a few weeks ago when he fought, like that first round, I was just explaining just before the podcast, guys. Like that first round was like,
he's sharp, wasn't he?
Just getting warmed up almost. But it was just like so sharp. Everything was crisp, and one thing I loved about the whole thing, from the stand-up element to when he clinched, it was just super calm. It's like he owned that cage. Does that make sense? So
I think that's just him, you know.
Yeah,
I can't take any credit for any of that. Again, he's got great team behind him. Henry, Clemenson from
Corfit, yeah.
And Dave, his boxing coach, Dave Lavelle, who's produced again many phenomenal fighters. Both of them have. So he's I think it's the input of them guys. He's just
amazing,
so calm and collective.
Yeah,
you know,
it's so
the way he moves in there is phenomenal. You know, I just play a small part in it.
No, you don't. You don't. You honestly don't. I love that about you, how modest you are. But it's honestly, it's such a huge part that both of you playing in that.
Respect, Pindi.
Yeah, 100%, man.
And we were talking about everyone doing well. Proud of you as well, man.
Yeah,
dude.
mate.
I've not done anything.
Walking into here is just like,
it's wicked, man. It's awesome.
Nah, thank you so much, guys. That really means a lot. Nah, but we're as me as well as everyone out there listening and watching, we're super excited. I can't wait to come to the new place. I want to try that cage out. Just
like, the Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. That's what it is. Mortal Kombat. That's what it is. Yes.
Just need the spikes up the back.
Yeah. That's what.
Don't give him any ideas.
No. Can we in the future see a floating ring approaching down that? Could we?
Never say never.
Never say never, man.
Scared of falling through them ropes, is
That's scary, man. But no, honestly, guys, thank you so much for coming on. But before we finish it there, guys, I know we've just touched upon it with social media, and I know we're obviously getting bigger and bigger with it now, but where can the listeners out there, the watchers watching on YouTube, where can they see you on social media, and how can they follow you?
Instagram, Kamby_Fearless is one of them. Yeah, if you can get them up, because I'm not very good at remembering now. And Facebook, you know, Fearless MMA. You'll find us on Facebook.
What about yourself, Kaish?
Oh yeah, sorry. I think Kaish has got my one.
I'm terrible, dude. I've just got onto Instagram not long ago. I'm still learning the ropes.
Okay. He's on there.
At Kaish_Fearless, I think.
Kaish_, is it?
Yeah.
Let me double check.
I'm gonna know.
I got to double check mine, you know.
Yeah, I'm just Kamby, yours is Kamby_Fearless.
There you go.
And it's Coach Kamby Wrestling, yeah. And Kaish, yours is.
It's at Kaish.
Yeah.
Is it at Kaish?
No, it's not at Kaish.
No, fuck. Sorry.
There it is. Kaish_Fearless. Coach Kaish.
Yeah.
Kaish's age is showing a little bit.
Let's see. Yeah. It's got 2 posts. Yes,
Bro, that's terrible. That's terrible. I gotta. Do you know what? I'm actually gonna take some lessons. You know, the young lads in the gym. I'm gonna get some lessons off them, man.
No,
I gotta
that's
learn
do
this
it,
stuff,
do
man.
it.
I gotta
Honestly,
learn
I
it.
promise
He's
you.
been liking all the naughty pictures. He doesn't realise that everyone can see it.
It's good for something.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm exposing.
There you go. There you go.
I'm gonna learn how to delete stuff.
and clear your history. Yeah.
Yeah,
And to end it, guys, on that note now, guys, if you're listening to that and you ever want to travel down to Fearless MMA, guys, please do so.
More than welcome,
They've got like we've been saying throughout the whole podcast, they've got an amazing setup. Well, both setups now. It's absolutely amazing. They've got a great caliber of coaches. They've got a great team, and even from the juniors as well, they've got a great children's set up with their martial arts as well, from their Thai to their wrestling, as well as the whole discipline aspect of it. So guys, please take a visit. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll send the link. We'll put the link on the video here on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify, guys, just obviously Google Fearless MMA and you'll see the addresses come up that way. And please give these guys a visit.
Thank you, Pindi. Thanks for having me.
Once again, thank you so much, guys.
Much
appreciated.
Thank you, Manny, as well. Respect, man.